He just was wondering, he was asking me where that narrative was coming from in terms of him quitting. Like, they don't give away these jobs very often. There's only 30 of them. And so I think to make a long story short, he's not going to be quitting when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean the Padres could decide to go a different route, but it ain't going to be because he says, I'm quitting. I'm not coming back. He is under contract through next year, and I think his intention is certainly to be back.
I know that, you hang around this team, and you told me you had a chance to talk with him about this very subject. I don't know, how much.
Mean, he just was wondering, he was asking me where that narrative was coming from in terms of him quitting. Like, they don't give away these jobs very often. There's only 30 of them. And so I think to make a long story short, he's not going to be quitting when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean the Padres could decide to go a different route, but it ain't going to be because he says, I'm quitting. I'm not coming back. He is under contract through next year, and I think his intention is certainly to be back.
I know that, you hang around this team, and you told me you had a chance to talk with him about this very subject. I don't know, how much.
Mean,
Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Happy Wednesday to you. Let's get our heads right today. Feels real good to be here with you guys this morning on National Morning Show Hosts Day, or as we call it, Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It is. I guess it's a day to celebrate your National Morning Show hosts. My Venmo is no, I'm not going to give my Venmo out.
We're not national morning show hosts. We're local morning show hosts.
But it's national. It's National Morning Show Hosts Day. Not celebrate your national morning show.
Like
host.
DA, Damon Amendolara. You can celebrate him.
Celebrate
He's a national morning show
like
host.
national
morning show hosts all across the nation.
Like National Donut Day, you don't just eat national donuts. You eat donuts and you celebrate the donuts. Today is National Morning Show Hosts Day.
And then why are we even here?
That's a good question. I mean, this is what we do. We're morning show hosts. A guy yesterday got real lippy with me on Twitter. And we were talking about Bob Melvin, and he's not a Bob Melvin fan. And he said, well, Bob Melvin was quoted. He was quoted as saying that he doesn't really manage and he's hands off. And I go, could you point me in the direction of that interview where he says, I don't really manage. I don't really do anything. And he said, you're a reporter. Go find it. I go, I'm not a reporter. I'm a morning show host. It's different. I go, you're not going to find many reporters.
I remember Bob saying that he is hands off when it comes to the clubhouse.
Yep, he lets the players have the clubhouse, and that's about it. Which, as he should, as he absolutely should, as most great managers do. And, we eliminated last night. That's why I feel so good. We eliminated the Giants before they eliminated us, Ben, and the San Diego Padres by a absolute thread are still hanging on. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. He is our imaging director. Paulie had one of his rougher evenings last night. I felt terrible for him. We'll get to that in a second. Benjamin R. Higgins, a morning show host, joins us. Happy National Morning Show host.
Same to you, my good friend.
It is. It's great to be.
What do you have planned to celebrate yourself today?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. After the grind of a 4-hour show, I'm going to exert a lot of energy, a lot of mental capacity. Then I'm going to go sit in an hour-long meeting here for our town hall.
Fall asleep. I'm so worried that I'm going to fall asleep.
There's
again.
almost. He has been domed out about it for 48 hours. Yesterday, we're sitting here quietly, and he goes, "So the town hall meeting tomorrow, we have to go to that?" I go, "Yes, we have to go." They're doing it at 10, just for pretty much for make sure the morning people are here. So we have a town hall meeting in there. Don't know.
We've gotten reminders from Adam, like the old hope to see everybody there.
Yeah.
I know what that means. That means you're expected to be there. Yeah,
that's exactly.
I
right.
understand.
Now I'll tell you what. If it was at noon, I'd be like, "Sorry, pal, I can't do it."
But it's at 10.
It's at 10. We have no excuses. We have
to walk right into it.
So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to do a little workout. Then I'm going to go to therapy, and then I'm going to pick up my kids and cook dinner and put them to sleep and go to bed and do it all over again.
That sounds like a surprisingly normal day for National Morning Show Host Day.
Yeah,
you don't really have anything special planned.
I'll see what the missus has planned for me when I get home. It should be whatever it is. It should be very sexy and hot. A negligee, maybe when I walk in, candles, wine, the whole bit would be great.
Maybe like a bit is perfect for National Morning Show Host
do
Day.
A bit.
She should do a bit for you.
She should do a bit for me. Man, it's great to be here with you guys this morning. I was just saying how we eliminated the Giants, and I'll be surprised. I'll admit surprised because they at one point, Benjamin, were 13 games above 500 at one point this season. And we've never been 13 games over 500. Not even close. Never even been 5 games over.
We haven't been 4 games, I don't believe.
Right. So I did see an article that came out of what happened in the Giants clubhouse. We've had our own issues here in San Diego. We've highlighted them. We've talked about them. We've speculated them. But one came out, I believe it was in The Athletic by Andrew Baggerly. And there's just been a lack of professionalism, Ben, in the clubhouse. And some people have been frustrated. And I quote here, outfielder Mike Yastrzemski, second baseman Tyro Estrada, and infielder Wilmer Flores are among those who sought to refocus a clubhouse that has included too many ho-hum reactions to losing, along with the near zealotry to Pusoy, which is a Filipino card game that Jock Peterson and some other Giants players appear to find more compelling than studying the night's opposing starting pitcher. So they're in there playing Pusoy every night. Are you familiar with Pusoy?
Let's see. I'm just looking up the rules. The object of the game is to be the first to discard one's hand by playing them to the table.
It's a little bit. Is it like Go Fish?
That sounds a little bit like Go Fish.
So they're playing. But they're playing.
I'm a big fan.
Uno.
I'm also a huge fan of Pusoy. Now, I don't get to play it as much since I got married, but I used to play it all the time. I played it a lot, probably too much.
Played it like a week ago.
Did you play it a week ago? Good for you. How'd you do?
Pretty good.
Good for you. Good for you.
I won.
You won. Okay.
I won.
Good. Yeah. I don't get to play as much Pusoy as I like. Even at my advanced age of 48. But still, when I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
I can understand how a clubhouse would get completely enamored with Pusoy and just want to do nothing but play Pusoy.
Competitive.
Are you
athlete.
sure you're not putting Pusoy on a pedestal compared to blackjack, maybe solitaire, poker?
I don't know that you can put Pusoy high enough, if I'm being honest with you. And again, I can understand. I mean, Pusoy has splintered nations before. Of course, it's going to splinter a clubhouse, right? it stands to reason. So somebody had to go in there, get rid of all the Pusoy in there, and make sure that, guys were focused on the game, and it just didn't happen. And it's not the first time baseball players have been blinded by Pusoy. It's really like I tweeted
Feels like
yesterday.
a lot of young ball players.
100%. 100% happens a lot to them. It's a tale as old as time. You get in the clubhouse, you start making a little money, and there's Pusoy everywhere, and all you want to do is play Pusoy, but you have a job to do. So I saw that. Hey, whatever helps the Padres out, I'm down. If it's Pusoy, if it's something else, great. So we did knock them out last night in a absolutely tenacious, inspiring anger. It angered me because I did tweet as well. Man, that is 3 absolutely fantastic performances in a row. I don't know. Our guys must not be playing Pusoy right now. They're locked in. Some people say you get locked in if you avoid Pusoy, right? In Bull Durham, he says, hey, if you think that you're winning because you're playing a lot of Pusoy, then you do that. If you don't mess with a winning streak.
Others feel like playing Pusoy relaxes you before a big game.
Yeah,
and
but
you play better.
I played Pusoy before a game one time, and I had to score from second on a single, and my legs buckled. When I hit third, I had played so much Pusoy that day, and all my friends were laughing at me. And my legs gave out like jelly legs, and I crumbled around third base, and they still talk about it. It was, I was
needed some Gatorade.
Like get up and like get my bearings and go back to third base.
It's an energetic card game, isn't it?
It very much is. I was probably a more energetic Pusoy player then in my mid-30s than I am now in my early or late 40s.
Did you sometimes play Pusoy twice in a day or even more
absolutely,
often?
absolutely.
And now at most you can play Pusoy once and then you're done.
At most once a week, maybe at the best. I mean, I just don't have enough time for Pusoy. My wife never really wants to play Pusoy with me too. She's tired. I'm tired. The kids wear us out.
And once you have kids,
you never get to play anymore.
No.
Yeah. So at any rate, brilliant pitching last night by Lugo, brilliant pitching by Snell the night before, and brilliant pitching by Michael Wacha the day before that. And I tweeted, or as I call them, 3 guys who won't be here next season. It was great, and it's awesome to see, and it was so cool. But there was that thing inside me that was like, oh, for the 3rd night in a row, we're hearing the broadcaster say, and what could be his final night in a Padres uniform. And I'm sitting here scratching my head going, how
the old tales that be careful what you wish for. Be careful making a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So, when someone asks for the Padres, hey, heading into October, I want them to have the hottest offense, the best pitching staff, and the best defense. Well, congratulations. The Padres may, in fact, have the hottest offense, the best pitching staff, and the best defense in baseball.
It's unbelievable.
Going into October. Your wish has come true. There's no one who would want to play the Padres in the playoffs right now. And no one will have to.
Bro, when Ha-Seong Kim dove and caught that ball, that is in the ninth, it's the first thing that popped in my head. I go, nobody would want to play this team right now. Even at our weekend, with our weekend lineup, I just thought to myself, man, Juan Soto's locked in.
Carrying the team at the plate.
The pitching has just been staggering.
No one gives up a run.
Yeah, just incredible.
And the defense is continuing to be absolutely stellar from Kim yesterday, Tatis the day before. I mean, spectacular plays all over the place on the field. And it's not going to matter at all because the season, barring the microscopic miracle,
we got a little help.
We got through one day. Can you get through 5 more days like that?
That was like divine intervention.
It really was, man. It was like the hand of God reached down and moved the ball. If you missed it, say a Suzuki booted a ball in right field. And I will say this, man. My natural reaction was like, I was sad for him. Because it was a ball that he catches 99 out of 100 times. And we need
999 out of 1,000.
I know we need the Cubs to lose. I know that. And it's great that they did. But I looked at that and went, that's one of the worst I've ever seen. Well, honestly, Like
they
that
just
was
showed it like 4 times above you.
you feel
MLB
terrible
Network.
for the guy. I
It's-
mean, it was a can of corn, really. I mean, he had to move a little bit for it. He had his glove in the right place.
I mean, it
He
must
just
have been
missed
the
it.
bank of lights or something
Must
at the
have.
last second, because you don't see a ball player get to the position and then miss a ball that badly. But it scored the 2 runs that gave the Atlanta Braves the 7-6 win after they had trailed 6-0. Padres were going to be eliminated if the Cubs won, and the Cubs were up 6-0. I was ready for it. I had made my peace, and it was going to be over, and then somehow it wasn't, and then the Padres won the game, and at least until today, Padres remain mathematically alive in the NL wildcard race.
Yeah, it was nuts, and you just there. It's kind of fun, and you watch that and go, oh, this is kind of fun, but you also say, when, like, this is very Padres-esque. This is like a sadistic surgeon keeping you on the table, and he's just like, now, Ben, I'm going to remove one eyelid. And so he cuts your eyelid off, and you lay there writhing in pain. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll be back later. I'm going to start pulling your fingernails out one by one. And you have to sit there and think about it. And that's where we are right now. It is truly sadistic by Major League Baseball and the baseball gods really wanting to grind lit cigarettes into our chest right now. That's exactly how it feels. So it's not really a matter of when or if, it's a matter of when the Padres will be eliminated. But yeah, so it was for stay alive for one night. Let me ask you this, Benny. Would the game that Josh Hader refused to come in for 4 outs, would that have helped us? Or,
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, think about I was looking at it yesterday. Take the last 2 losses. The only 2 losses the Padres have had in their last 12 games. An extra inning loss that they should have won against
Saturday
the Cardinals.
Yep.
And then the game that Josh Hader wouldn't come in to,
My God.
if they had won both of those games, they'd be 2.5 out. And while they wouldn't be, they'd still be long shots. It would be like a realistic.
All right.
If the Cubs go 2-4 or 2-3, if the Cubs go 2-3 and the Padres go 4-0, Padres could make the playoffs. That happens all the time in baseball.
All the time.
That could actually be there would be realistic scenarios that get the Padres into the playoffs had they just won those 2 games that they didn't win. Again, it's hard to complain about a team that's won 10 out of 12.
It's really not.
I mean,
it's not hard to complain about it at all.
I got 3.5 more hours.
Yeah, I got no problem complaining about it. I'm going to complain about it some more.
Fine. We got time to fill today. It's
do.
Wednesday. We are looking forward to having Adam Jones joining us. It's a somber occasion for Adam and the Baltimore Orioles family. The passing of Brooks Robinson yesterday.
Gold standard, right?
One of those players that our parents would talk about, to us growing up that we never really got to see.
I can remember vividly my dad one day when, highlights were on. He's like, because I played third base, and my dad goes, watch that guy. And I went, what the hell is that? I've never seen anything like that, at the time. And I think everybody's dad, our age, man, sat them down and showed them the great Brooks Robinson and what he was able to do at third base for the Baltimore Orioles, especially in that World Series against the Reds. Just robbing fools, dude, saving the bacon of the Baltimore Orioles. And he passed away yesterday at the age of 86. There were pictures circulating around him, flanked by all of his gold gloves, and there were many. I don't know exactly how many he won, but yeah, it was a really, really sad day. But
he and Adam Jones became tight through the Orioles family.
Yep.
So we'll talk to Adam when he joins us. I think it's 7:35 this morning. His European schedule always a little
dicey.
Up in the air. Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to be going to the Ryder Cup. I don't know if he's in Italy yet or if he's on his way or what the story is there, but I'm fascinated by that excursion as well. But just any memories he has of Brooks Robinson, that'll be an interesting conversation today.
Yeah, can't wait. We'll take your calls today as well. I got to fill you guys in on what happened last night on the live stream too. This was really, really something.
What happens on the live stream stays on the live stream.
Yeah. More of the pre-live stream and what exactly happened. So we can do all of that and then some today. We're going to have some fun. We'll see how Jesse worked the word fubsy, which means portly or stocky, into the broadcast last night on television, and we'll work that in. We'll do that next.
I saw it. Like my mom even texted me, "Oh, did you hear it? He just did fubsy with mud on the air." So, yes, we've got the audio from the 8th inning last night. We will play it back for you. Coming up next, Daily Ditty selection, one-hit wonders. It is a Wood selection today, correct?
I don't believe so. It is a Ben
It is a Ben selection. All right. Well, surprise. Ben gets to make a quick pick then on the Daily Ditty. When we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, let's check traffic with Kelly Danick right now on 97.3 The Fan.
You could not have picked a pervier song than this one. Listen to this. It's got a long intro. You ever heard this one, Paulie?
This could be our foreplay music.
It could.
I believe I've heard this. I've heard of the artist.
Kajagoogoo.
Yeah.
Too Shy.
It's very Ben sounding.
Yeah. It's so creepy. I love it.
Let it kick in.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
Hey, girl.
Piano.
Hey, girl. Move a little closer.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. You're too shy. Hush, hush. It's so creepy to me. Kajagoogoo. Yeah, I'd say one hit wonder.
Known for that song and pretty much that song alone, but
That's right.
yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Great one. So glad you picked it.
I was like playing the Spotify game. If you go to Kajagoogoo, yeah, 59 million streams.
Okay.
for
And
them.
then-
number 2 is 923,000.
Yeah.
streams.
Oh my God. Yeah. One
I'd say that's a
hit.
one-hit wonder.
One
Those are accidental
hit.
clicks mostly too.
One. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That song rules, and it's just so pervy at the same time.
Do you want to do the Incorporator
Yeah,
first?
let's
Okay,
do it.
let's so yesterday, last Incorporator of the season for Jesse Agler, with the little twist that it came on television last night with Mud instead of on the radio with Jesse with Tony, because Jesse was filling in for Don, who was doing a national game last night. So we have the setup from yesterday. This was Jesse's appearance with us yesterday.
Tonight's word, Fubsy. And Fubsy, F-U-B-S-Y, means squat or portly.
Squat.
Caveat, you can't say it about mud. And that's it. I got to put the caveat in. It's TV. You can't look at mud and say, you're looking rather Fubsy tonight.
All right, so he actually came through on all counts with his he dropped it in perfectly, really. One of his best, most organic uses, I would say, that he's had all season, maybe all time. This was the 8th inning. I caught it last night as they started a conversation about the new Giants pitcher, Sean Jelly, who's a rather tall fellow himself. Here's the conversation between Jesse and Mud.
This is the 5th separate major league stint for Sean Jelly this year.
6'11", 228 listed on Baseball Reference.
I was going to guess 6'11", 150.
You know what the crazy one is for me as far as height and weight in all sports? Manute Bol, 7'7", 201.
The opposite of Fubsy. Just as spindly as it gets.
Right.
Spindly is
That's
a great
awesome.
word.
7'7".
7'7", 201. He's a
That is
full
incredible.
foot and a half taller than me and weighs 33 pounds less than I do. Is he still with us, Manute Bol?
I don't believe
believe
so.
Oh, sorry.
Unfortunately.
Shout out to his family as well.
Manute
Bol is his son, yes?
Passed away in
Yeah.
2010.
No, are they related?
I believe
I
they
think
are.
you're right.
I don't. Yeah.
Bol.
Bol. Yeah.
Bol is his
Yeah,
child.
he's a child.
Manute Bol and his son Bol.
Got 4 kids. Madut Bol,
Madute.
Ayak
Bol.
Bol, and Chris Bol.
Chris Bol. It's the Grammatica effect. You, my son, I will name Martin. You're Bill. I believe, by the way, Bill was a nickname for something else.
Yes.
But it was odd that he or his parents decided, you, my beautiful
Guillermo or
yeah,
something.
Martin Grammatica. Bill.
Beautiful name.
But the Bol, I mean, that's interesting as well. That
It's
would
the
be
last
like,
Woods.
well, yeah, Taylor and Bo, and you're going to be Woods.
Woods. It's fantastic. Well, rest easy, Manute Bol. And thanks for the Incorporator lead in last night from the great Jesse Agler. We're
All
done.
right, shall we just take a break and get to our Padres wrap up?
Right
I
on
wasn't
time.
sure if you wanted to talk about the live stream last night.
Right
yet
on
or
time.
not.
We will.
All right, we'll get to that.
We will get there.
Padres, though, with an outstanding performance last night, carried by Seth Lugo and Juan Soto. We'll get to the highlights. Bob Scanlon's calls, a couple of Juan Soto home runs, and a near complete game. Would have been the first of the season for the San Diego Padres.
So
He
close.
came like an inch away from the complete game last night. We'll get to that coming up next. With Ben and Woods, this segment brought to you by the Golf Mart on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Be very careful on the roadways out there. A little public service announcement from your pals Ben and Woods here. As we just looked outside, and it looks like Scotland out there. You can't see 2 feet in front of you. It was pretty foggy driving in, but it is really landed here. So we can normally
see the buildings driving in.
we can normally see cars on the road right there, and you can't see anything. So just be careful. No reason to rush. Okay. Your safety is more important to us. We actually need you alive to listen.
And the slower you go, the longer you get to listen in your car.
That's
as well.
exactly
so that
right.
benefits us, actually.
That's exactly right.
We're secretly cheering for traffic.
Oh, yeah. Traffic is a morning show host's dream. Those smooth morning. I only got to listen for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it. Somebody couldn't have a flat tire or something right in the middle. As long as everyone's safe, traffic's great for us.
It's a sad truth,
Yeah,
but
old
traffic
secret.
is very good for the morning show and afternoon drive hosts in radio. This hour on The Fan brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Fall is almost here. No, wait, it is here.
It
Look
is
outside.
here. Yep.
It's Ashley. Seasonal decorating is a breeze. Snuggle up on a sectional or ultra-modern sofa. Gather outside with a new fire pit or conversation set. Ashley has everything you'll need. Shop in store or visit Ashley.com today. We're going to visit our Padres Wrap-Up with Bob Scanlon and Tony Gwynn right after this check of the fog-laden traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Air Max, San Diego's highest rated heating and air conditioning company. Couple trouble spots on our road. Southbound side of the 524 Imperial, collision over the right shoulder. Looks like emergency crews may have that right lane blocked. And we're seeing a lot of slowing on the Coronado Bridge. Pretty much backed up full span all the way over to the island. Looking for the best in HVAC? Choose Air Max, San Diego's highest rated heating and air company. With free diagnostics on all repairs and estimates. See why over 1,100 happy customers have given Air Max 5-star Yelp reviews. See Air Max today at airmax.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner. This about damn time.
First pitch from Brevia. Swung on. Driven to center field and deep. Fitzgerald is going back. He's at the warning track at the wall. He looks up. It's gone. Home run for Juan Soto. Number 34 on the season. That ties a career record for Juan, and the Padres have a 1-0 lead in the first. Hassan came with runners on first and third. First pitch swinging, ground ball to the shortstop. He's only got one play over to first base in time, and the run is going to score. 2-0 Padres on the RBI ground out, and I'm trying to figure out why he didn't try to turn two right
I
there.
think Alex Wood is trying to figure that out too.
The outs tonight. First pitch swinging is Juan Soto, driven opposite field. This one is going to be gone. Another home run for Juan Soto. Crushes it opposite field. His second home run of the night. This one's a 2-run blast. It'll give the Padres a 4-0 lead. Juan Soto doing all kinds of damage against the Giants tonight. Left-hander's pitch. Strike three call. Check swing. He's got the call by Tripp Gibson, and that'll do it. Josh Hader comes in and slams the door, and the Padres walk away with a 4-0 lead. And the Padres tie up this series in San Francisco 1-1. And Seth Lugo gets his 8th win of the season.
I mean, guys like him, and there are very few of them. You know he's going to be selective. You know he's going to walk if you don't throw it over the plate. If you do throw it over the plate, it's his 35th homer. So, he's got a pretty good idea, over the course of the season when he needs to be aggressive and, when he needs to be patient.
A lot going on in that recap. A lot. I pinpointed like 9 things I wanted to talk about.
All I can think about is the Giants fan blaming the umpire at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And Seth Lugo gets his 8th win of the season.
That guy's the worst. He's been there. Somebody needs to go up to him shove a sock in his mouth, and then duct tape the sock.
Win of the season.
He's all for the whole series. You just hear him all night. Just it's like we get it, dude. You make a lot of money. You have these seeds. You're very rich. You're very important. Probably some .com tech guy in the Bay Area, and he pays $1 billion for those seeds, and he never shuts the F up. The entire broadcast for last two nights. I'm like, I'm putting it on mute. I can't even
Win of the season.
Way to blow it.
Yeah, the umpire blew the game. Not your guys leaving.
That didn't score any runs at all.
Not your pitcher leaving 93-mile-an-hour heaters right down the D to Juan Soto, who just torched those balls. You guys were saying earlier, you've never seen a hitter like Juan Soto that when it looks like he hits the ball, you're like, it's pop out. And you look at me like, oh my God, it's 25 feet over the fence.
Like I missed the first one. We were getting set up on our stream last night, and I saw him rounding the bases.
Yep.
So I was watching the post-game show after the game. They showed the highlights. Like, hey, big night for Juan Soto. They showed both home runs, both times. I'm like, that is a routine pop fly to left center field.
Yeah, and I mean, but they're not.
My God, he is strong.
He doesn't hit that ball that's like that low rising, like because he goes to all different fields. And so sometimes when he hits that one opposite field, you're like, man, that's going to be. And then Nando will drop down, get right through it, rip it, and you're like, oh, that's gone. And the guy catches it right at the wall. It's just
like Manny for me has the no doubters on the
Manny
team.
has
when
the
Manny
no
connects,
doubters.
you know it's gone.
It's
Soto, I mean, he's definitely had a few, but I swear to God, a lot of the times I'm like,
looks like a damn it looks like he missed it.
That can clear the fence.
I know.
Oh,
And the ones that
20
do
rows.
look like he hits a home run go 450 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, deep.
Moon
when he
shots.
actually does look like he gets it, it's incredible. I agree with you 100%, Paulie. Both of those home runs last night off the bat, I thought were outs. Just the way the swing. I don't know if it's because he looks like he's coming off of it a little
Right.
bit, and for most guys, that's the sign of, well, he didn't get
Just
all
missed
of his
it, got
body
under it.
into it.
Well,
He didn't hit it as well as
and
he could.
especially playing up in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Did we got a scan flub? A
And
flub
the Padres
scan.
tie up this series in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Hold on. Remix.
Do we put our beloved Bob Scanlon in flubs? I think we do.
I think it's kind of it's
like
bit
an
of a
honor.
dubious honor.
Yeah,
but
it's an honor though. We love Scan. He knows
And the
that.
Padres tie up this series in San Francisco.
He will also beat the crap out of us if he doesn't like it. So I'd say throw it in. See if he hears it. Our beloved Bob.
He's listening. Not now, probably, because he's in San Francisco right now. But
I left
he's
my
listening.
heart in San Francisco.
Did you?
The coldest summer I ever spent was wait. How does it go?
The coldest winter I ever spent was
the
a
summer
summer in
I
San-
spent
in
in
San
San
Francisco.
Francisco.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. Yeah. Samuel Langhorne Clemens.
Or at least credited him. He gets a lot of credit for saying.
Does he?
I don't know that he said them all, but he gets a lot of credit for them.
All right. Fair enough. Seth Lugo, obviously.
I thought he was the story. Though.
Soto and Lugo, the Lugo Soto game last night, certainly. Seth Lugo, 8 2/3, 3 hits, walked 3, struck out 7, threw 123 pitches, fellas, 80 strikes. It was staggering. And I did see a lot of the sentiment on Twitter of like, what a big old middle finger this is to, Josh Hader saying, well, we're not in a playoff race and it's about getting through the season and
don't want to get injured.
Seth Lugo you're also talking about a guy that has a decision to make. Yeah. Seth Lugo is he's not an unrestricted free agent per se. He's not he's not in the same position as Josh Hader, but there are options that he can decline, and he most certainly will.
Yeah, it's not a tough decision. He's going to opt out of his contract.
Straight player option, right?
Yeah, he can either opt
For
in or
6.5,
not opt in,
7.5,
and he
something
will
like that.
not
He'd
opt
be
in
foolish to
at that price. Yes.
Yeah,
he can get much more now.
Again, I caution folks, and I'm guilty of it too, because your brain starts to think in the altruistic side of you, the fan, you start to think, well, man, like he should, you know what? He owes the Padres. They're really the only team that let him start, and they really let him, and they able to really worked hard with him, and look what he's turned into. At the end of the day, that he's going to sign with the team that gives him the most money, I would imagine.
Well, I don't agree. I mean, and I know you're saying that you don't believe that the Padres, he owes the Padres anything for the future. I do think that there is something to be said about finding a place you're comfortable with and had success.
Yeah, but you said that about Blake Snell. We've said it about Michael Walker. We've said it about 1,000 guys. I mean, there's been a million guys over the years that we sat and bandied back and forth of, well, I mean, they're happy here. Maybe they'll take less money.
Aaron Judge took less money from the Yankees because he felt, comfortable and entrenched there than what the Padres were offering. So sometimes guys do take a little bit less to go somewhere they're more comfortable, but not a lot less, not a giant discount.
I don't know what he's going to get. I don't know what Seth Lugo is going to get or command, but he really has earned it, man. He's been, the bummer for him, the only time he missed this year was he strained his calf. So he's not had any arm issues. He's pushed past his career innings limit and,
career high 146.1 innings, 140 strikeouts, both career highs, 3.57 ERA. Bob Melvin said after the game, if you had told me at the start of the season that we were going to get that kind of year out of Seth Lugo, I would have been surprised. I would, as optimistic as you are about your own guys as a manager, that was above like the top level that the Padres set for Seth Lugo. When they signed him to be their kind of a fifth starter swing type guy, they weren't thinking he could do close to 150 innings with that kind of ERA, transitioning back to a starter's role full time.
He was really, really fantastic last night, and it reminded me. You see the gif that goes around of Mike Messina when he was on the Yankees, he was pitching, and Torrey goes to the top step and he points and like, get back in there. And Torrey's like, okay, settle down. And like, it's one of the best gifts out there. It reminded me of that. After the 8th, he came through, went down into the dugout, put his warm-up jacket on, got on the top of the bench, ripped open the iPad and started going over charts and who's coming up next. And there was no way he was coming out of that game. He was already over 100 pitches, but he's like, no way. I want to go the distance. Were you at 123? I was like, all right, with Hader there and he's warm and decided he wanted to pitch tonight. That's the right move by Bob Melvin.
Yeah, Bob said after the game when he was asked like the decision to send him back out to the 9th, he said it was a pretty quick one. You know, I saw that he wanted it badly and I wasn't going to take him out. I did think to myself, 125 is about the limit.
Yeah.
And when he got to 123 and there were 2 runners on, which made it a save situation, became a fairly obvious point to go get him and put Josh Hader in for the last out. And he did. I just feel bad because the pitch before he had the two batters where he had the chance for the double play, got the second, the turn at first was just a half step late or could have gotten out of the inning and gotten that complete game.
And then he just walked by, gave him a fist. That was about it. So I usually can tell with a look. He wanted it. 125 was about as much as I was going to allow him to go and obviously the second base runner. So it looked like he started to get a little bit tired there at the end.
How badly did you want that?
I was pacing in the dugout. I wanted it bad for him.
What was it about him?
The CG is just so elusive these days. It's just not something that happens. It would have been the first one for the Padres this year. I was getting texts going, would this be the first? And I was really kind of on the edge of my seat.
I know they were asking last night, has there been 2 baseball games in a row in a series that both had complete games this season? Because, Webb had his on Monday. And then you could have had one from the Padres last night. That is very rare in baseball today.
It's in I hate to be like the glass half empty guy. I really do. But I when I thought about it, it's the first thing that hit me. I said, Waka, great 2 days ago. Blake Snell, brilliant, the night before. And then Seth Lugo was equally as brilliant last night, not giving up a run, 8 2/3 innings. And I thought to myself, son of a gun. I guess you do have to give A.J. Preller a lot of credit for finding those 2, Waka and Lugo specifically. And, of course, a ton of credit goes to Ruben Niebla. But now, because of the contracts that you gave him, it's dicey. It's dicey. I don't know. We've had the debate of who you bring back and why and when and how much is it going to cost.
The odds say both of them will likely regress a little bit next season. You get a little bit older, you put a little more wear and tear on. You just have such a good performance. It's going to be hard for either of them to duplicate.
What are the deals again?
What they did.
Do you know off the top of your head?
So Waka, the Padres have a choice first as a team option, 2 years, $32 million total. If they want to bring him back for 2024 and 2025, they can do so by paying him $16 million a year. If they decline that, Waka has a player option, actually a series of them, but it's only around, I think, 7 or 8 million. So, it would be likely that he would opt out of that if the Padres don't pick up theirs. Seth Lugos is a straight player option. He can come back for about that same 7 or 8, but
8.5,
something like that. But he is.
So if we say no, Waka can get whatever it was, 8 million.
Yeah, but he'll say no.
And if we say yes, it's 16 million. Whereas in reality, I think he's going to land. His value is somewhere in the middle, right?
I would think
13,
so.
14, 15.
I'd say he's due a raise, right? I mean,
yeah.
But is
16 for 2 is a lot of money.
32 for 2 is a lot of dough. Yeah,
16 each.
It's a lot of dough for Michael Waka, and again, he's been great. He's
coming off 2 really good seasons, one with the Red Sox, one with the Padres.
That's exactly right. And again, he's
a history of injuries,
a little bit younger than Lugo, but I don't know, man. I hate to do the old coach speak, but what I saw last night from Seth Lugo, and he's really been that way all year, Ben. He's been the dogged bulldog type. I hate that. It's such a tired trope, but it's true. He really and he showed it last night. Straight up, give me the ball. I'm going to go out. I'm going to keep pitching till my arm falls off. And he did, man. And I celebrate that very much. And that's the kind of guy you kind of need on this team. So I don't know what he's going to command, but he's probably the one I look at and go, okay.
I agree with you. I agree because he's got an attitude that the Padres
desperately
need as much of. He's a bulldog.
Not that Waka does it, by the way.
No, that's true, and that's fair. We got to meet Waka in spring training, and I liked him. I liked his attitude as well. But all season,
get one of them.
all season long, though, Seth Lugo was getting the questions about you can't really pitch more than 115 innings, right? I mean, it's way over what you did last year, career high, and he's go, no, I'm going to take the ball as much as I can. I'm going to throw as many innings as I can. And not only did he do that, he finished strong. I mean, he finished really strong last night. He kind of answered all those questions very impressively.
Mike B says they only signed here because we were their best option, not because AJ sold them. Now, I know for a fact Waka was offered a certain amount by another team, but it was just for a 1-year deal. And he said no because the Padres paid 4 times what that other team was offering. And so they're going to go where the best option is. AJ Preller, it's a
I think it was those options that he got was good. Now he's not going to end up using them, so it'll be irrelevant. The Padres they got him for a steal this year. Both of those guys were a steal for the Padres this year.
I can't imagine you couldn't have gotten both of them. And I know you don't want to commit long term, but why the option?
That's what made the Padres more appealing to those guys than other clubs that were offering contracts.
Right. But I mean, now you run the risk of losing.
Well, yeah, but you could have signed him to a 1-year deal and guaranteed that you were losing them at the end of the year too. You
could have signed him to a 3-year deal and kept him.
I think we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I think in this case, people are criticizing AJ Preller, and they really should be looking outside the box. We'll talk about it more. We'll play a little Take on Woods. Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. had plenty of reasons and occasions to criticize AJ Preller. I don't think this is one of them. Woods and I continued talking about it during the break.
I think you're right. I'm just mad that we didn't make the playoffs. Won't get to see those guys in some big games. So it does feel a little bit kind of all for naught, right? They're going to walk away. They're going to get a big fat raise. And if you do extend them, if you do pick up the option, that's a lot of money. So we know that for Waka especially. And then Lugo's going to get a nice raise as well. So you got to pay him more for that. But at the end of the day, you're right. We're still going to need, if we made the playoffs and they're rolling through the playoffs or whatever, they're still going to probably opt out of next year. And you're still going to need to fill those holes.
But ultimately, the Padres signed 2 really good pitchers on very team-friendly, what turned out to be 1-year deals. Now, it could have been something else because with all the options and everything, but ultimately they're going to end up being really team-friendly 1-year deals in which both of them outperform their salaries. I would say at least double what they were paid.
Yeah, so I guess you have to look at that. You said good deal.
In that sense, those are really good deals that AJ Preller signed. And just because you're not guaranteed to get them back or you'd have to pay them again, that is irrelevant. They got really good performance for a really good price for 2 pitchers this year. That's a win for a general manager right there.
Well, and now you have to do it again. You have to do it again.
That's the job.
If it's AJ, you got to do it again. You got to find guys that are going to fill those slots in the rotation. You got to replace the Cy Young winner, Blake Snell. It's the GM's going to have to do some GMing here very shortly.
Yeah, it's an easier job if you sign a guy to a friendly long-term deal and then he performs great every year,
like the Braves do.
Yeah, that makes it really easy. Then you don't have to worry. But
what are they doing over there in Atlanta?
What the hell are they?
It doesn't make it a bad deal when you sign a guy to a 1-year contract and they absolutely kill it. It just makes it harder to re-sign them the next year. But that's still a good deal for the Padres, both of those players. And I'll even argue Nick Martinez falls in that category as well. Finding him from Japan and bringing him over was a very good deal for the Padres. And even though now they have to make some tougher decisions about that, well, that's part of the game, and you got to make right decisions. Maybe it is the right decision to pick up Michael Wacha's option. Maybe it's not. You may pick up that option and for $32 million, and he's got more shoulder fatigue, and he steps back. He's got a 5 ERA next year and only makes 17 starts, and you're going, well,
why are we paying
that was dumb. Why are we paying
him
him so much money? Or you could be pretty happy with $16 million, and he goes out again and makes 28 starts and wins 13 games and has a 3.8 ERA, and you're going, that's worth $16 million. And that's the job, that's the gig, and you got to assess what you project these players will do over the next couple of years. But this last year, good job, AJ. You signed 2 really good pitchers on really team-friendly deals for this 1 year.
Can't imagine where we would have been without those guys this year, both of them. And obviously Blake Snell as well. Just phenomenal years from the 3 of them.
I was reading Kevin Acey's daily newsletter, talked about Lugo. Made an extra $250,000 last night by making his 26th start. And that was the 5th incentive that he met this year in his contract,
That's
which
amazing.
got him another $1.25 million added onto the base of $7.5 million.
I do love incentive-laden contracts, and I know you see every now and then, man, they should pay all these guys the same, and make them earn their money.
Make like $50,000 a year,
yeah,
and then for every hit, every
yeah.
home run.
It'd be a weird way to do it, certainly. But I certainly, man, as somebody that's also under contract, you throw incentives in there that I have a realistic chance of hitting. Yeah, it makes me really excited to come to work every day. I love the incentive. I love the bonus, things like that. Those are great. Those are great to have. But I think, to replace those guys is going to be a tall order next year, Ben. For less money.
I mean, huge, especially given the scarcity of pitching on the market and the fact that your prospects in the system don't look like they're ready to come and contribute, at least at the start of 2024, or be counted on for a significant number of innings next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if you do get some graduating prospects, my guess is they'll be second half of the year and on an innings limit given their age and experience levels. So, yeah, you get you need a veteran arm somewhere in your rotation next year, and you won't have a ton of money if you are lowering payroll, as we talked about earlier this week. You won't have a ton of money to spend on that veteran arm. That's going to be a tough one for AJ this offseason.
It really is. I mean, right now under contract, Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish. Both health, issues right now, kind of up in the air. We'll see what happens if they're back and ready to go for opening day. But yeah, I mean, you did not have a good season, battling through a lot of injuries too. And of course we extended him in the offseason as well. So it's just, there's a lot left up in the air about 2024.
Need a contestant here for Take on Woods, 833-288-0973. You can join us and try to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas coming up in our musical trivia game in a couple of minutes. As we mentioned, the Braves rallied from 6-0 down to beat the Cubs and keep the Padres from being eliminated yesterday. But some of the other results I thought were interesting. When we talked to Jake Mintz yesterday from Cespedes Family Barbecue, he goes, all right, we're finally seeing some separation in the AL West. Well, it tightened up again yesterday with the Rangers losing and the Mariners beating the Astros. Now, Rangers still have a 2.5-game lead with just a few days remaining, so they're still pretty comfortably in. But the Mariners now are just a half game behind the Astros, and they play one more game tonight to decide that series. Whoever wins it will have the upper hand going into the final weekend of the season for the final playoff spot in the American League. Got to be one of the biggest games of the year tonight in Seattle.
Framber Valdez versus Bryce Miller.
Yeah, good matchup tonight in that one. You also had the Reds beat the Guardians, so they're still in it. Two more Reds wins would eliminate the Padres, I think, at this point. Yeah, 2 more Reds wins also eliminates the Padres. Not that it will come to that. That would likely be far down the road. And you saw the Cardinals beat the Brewers 4-1, but the Brewers clinched the National League Central when the Cubs lost. So they did the whole thing like the Padres did last year.
Remember it well.
Where they lost the game, but then popped the champagne corks when they got the result out of town that they were looking for and had their celebration to celebrate the NL Central. Cardinals announcing also that Adam Wainwright will not pitch again this season. So his pitching career is done.
He may hit.
Have that thought that he may go into a game as a designated hitter. I think they said if the Reds are out of it, they play the Reds the last weekend, and they're not competing for a playoff spot, they may consider throwing Waino in there to hit. But if the games mean something, they're not going to start Adam Wainwright as designated hitter. That would be unfair to the other teams competing for the playoffs.
I think that's the right move too. I think, I mean, you could get him like 1 AB, right? If the Reds are still in it, you could get him 1 AB, right? 1 wouldn't hurt.
I mean, it might. It could decide a game that decides a playoff spot. No, I mean, he strikes out in a big spot when you could have had a real actual hitter up in that. If I'm like the Cubs and I need the Reds to lose that game, or I'm the Diamondbacks and I need the Reds to lose that game, and the Cardinals are down 1 in the 9th inning, bases loaded, and they got Adam Wainwright up instead of someone who actually is used to hitting.
You lead him off, let him get the ovation, let him do his thing, and then he walks off the field and he's done. You're fine. You're fine. Don't make a big deal out of it.
I mean, the Reds will likely be eliminated before the last day of the season.
You keep saying that.
Yeah. So I keep saying the Padres will likely be eliminated any minute now, and they still are hanging on by a thread. So Padres and Giants wrap up their series tonight. It's another night game, not a day game, 6:45. Matt Waldron, see if he can back it up with another good start on the mound tonight against Sean Manaea, old friend alert, in the series finale. All right, look at everybody calling in, wanting to play the game this morning. So let's get to it. It is time for Take on Woods. Love all the eager tier ones trying to get in, but we're going to go with a first timer today. Will, you are it. You are our contestant for Take on Woods. Good morning to you.
Hey, morning, guys. How's it going?
Now we're good. All right, Woods has left the studio. You get the first crack at our 5 questions of musical trivia, and then if you beat or tie Woods, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing coming up, I think, at the end of this week. 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, private VIP pod at the Westgate Superbook, and a $250 food and beverage credit while you are there. And you get to pick our category today, Will. We've got One Door Closes still there. That's about Jim Morrison and the Doors. End It All, 5 songs that end with the word it. And Ladies and More Ladies, all songs and answers featuring the word ladies in the answer. So, One Door Closes, End It All, Ladies and More Ladies. What would you like, Will?
I'll do the One Door Closes.
Oh, all right. This one again about Jim Morrison and the Doors. Makes one thing a little bit easier. On the 2-second song, you don't need to give me the band. You know the band. You just need to give me which song it is. You could get that one. We'll do the other 4 questions. Pass if you don't know one. We can come back to it if there's time left on the clock. I think you know how to play, Will, so you ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Category 1, door closes. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Will. Let's take on Woods.
I love you.
That is correct. Recounted in the 1991 movie by Oliver Stone, producers from The Ed Sullivan Show asked Jim Morrison to change the lyrics to which song because of possible drug connotations.
Love Her Badly.
Incorrect. Although it wasn't a hit right away, which lead track from the Doors' debut album with a legendary bass line became a signature staple for the band.
Exactly. Love Her Badly, right?
No, you broke up there.
What was the answer?
Love Her Badly.
Incorrect. In which hit song does Jim Morrison rearrange the letters of his name into the anagram Mr. Mojo Rising? After honing their craft at a club called London Fog, the Doors became the house band at which famous venue on the Sunset Strip named after a French discotheque. Oh, time is up. You did get the first one, but I think that's all he got. Hello, I Love You. The other answers, Light My Fire was the Ed Sullivan Show. Girl, we couldn't get much higher. They wanted to change that lyric, but he wouldn't. Break On Through is the one with the bass line to the other side. L.A. Woman is Mr. Mojo Rising. And the club is the Whiskey A Go-Go. So we'll see. I don't know how much Woods. He probably knows quite a bit about the Doors.
He's gonna crush
honestly,
this one. Are you kidding me? 5 for 5.
He doesn't get the category, but that should become fairly apparent. All right, Will's score is locked in. Woods' headphones are on. Reset the 60 seconds. Here we go. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Will.
Hello, I Love You. The Doors.
Correct. Recounted in the 1991 movie by Oliver Stone, producers from The Ed Sullivan Show asked Jim Morrison to change the lyrics to which song because of possible drug connotations.
Light My Fire.
Correct. Although it wasn't a hit right away, which lead track from the Doors' debut album with a legendary bass line became a signature staple for the band.
Break On Through.
Correct. In which hit song does Jim Morrison rearrange the letters of his name into the anagram?
L.A. Woman.
Correct. After honing their craft at a club called London Fog, the Doors became the house band at which famous venue on the
Whiskey A Go-Go.
Correct. 5 for 5. You know your Doors. You blew the Doors off of Will.
More than almost any other
in
band.
The category One Door Closes today.
That's one of my favorite categories we've ever had. This is like fish in a barrel.
I was like, we'll see how he does. I'm like, guaranteed 5 for 5.
Murdered it.
I learned a lot. I learned about the Whiskey A Go-Go. I learned Mr. Mojo Rising was an anagram of Jim Morrison. Didn't know that one either.
What a song that is, L.A. Woman. Oh my God, my dad's favorite song.
All of those songs.
Yeah, they're. I love that band. They get a lot of grief, but they were incredible. And Morrison was just one of the most interesting, fascinating drunkards of all time. And probably my first musical hero. Led me down a very dark path for many years. You
do enjoy a rebel.
Yeah, years later, I end up going 5 for 5.
Someone who doesn't like to conform to what's always expected of him from society.
Yet will also conform a lot and gets nervous when I don't conform.
That's true.
You know, it's very weird. It's the duality of man, Ben. Great category.
Thank you. We'll get to Don't Do This coming up next.
I can't believe we're doing this again.
We just said yesterday.
Now, it wasn't the same name, but it's the same ballpark. Good Lord. Stop this. Stop this. And I got a great do this.
I do too. That's the thing, though.
Mine's better.
All right. We'll do yours.
Mine's dirty.
I'll keep mine as a backup.
Keep yours as a backup. Mine's dirty, which means it's better.
All right. Fair enough. Right. We'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 Van. Check traffic right now with Kelly. 97.3 The Fan. You can tune in to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti. Boomer Esiason, Mike Valenti. It is presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it, and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Woods knows don't do this.
No, very much so.
Going to get us started today.
Well, we talked about it yesterday. We talked about Antonio Brown invoking the name that you never want to ever invoke. And when he called Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Matt Canada, he called him Hitler Canada. And just not good. It's just never a good thing. And then yesterday I'm at home in the middle of the day. I texted you guys this immediately. I'm doing some prep for the show, and I saw this Ohio high school coach resigns after team's Nazi play call. So they were playing a game in Brooklyn, Ohio. I had no idea there was a Brooklyn, Ohio. They were playing against Beechwood High School. It's a Cleveland suburb. It's roughly 90% Jewish, by the way. And Brooklyn team was constantly and throughout the first half of the game yelling, Nazi, Nazi, Nazi. Do not say that, Paul. And they're screaming it as like a play call or,
Red 36.
Yeah,
Red
right.
36.
Except they used Nazi. And some of the players went over to their side and they're like, hey, this isn't
not
great.
okay.
This isn't okay right now. And so I guess the coaches met and they're like, okay, fine, we'll stop using it in the second half. But the damage had already been done. The head coach of Brooklyn was a guy by the name of Tim McFarland, and he has resigned. He has now resigned, handed in his resignation on Monday morning. Said he expresses his deepest regret. And he and the school apologized for hurtful and harmful speech that will not be tolerated here. So, yeah, that will get you out of a job.
He wouldn't have resigned if this was something that the kids all did on their own without his knowledge, right?
Well, he was yelling it as well. Yeah, he was, as the coach, yelling.
I mean, glad they stopped doing it at halftime. Certainly glad he apologized. But where is the thought process that went into the play call at the beginning?
Yeah,
how'd you think that was going to go, you idiot?
It's just like,
are we being clever? What is going on that they think is happening here?
The severe lack of common sense sometimes is what really, really it confounds me. That's a confounding thing. You have to know that's not cool to say, even if the other school wasn't 90% Jewish, and they are.
Speaking of confounding, my Don't Do This story comes to you from the Queens, New York, where the New York Mets play at Citi Field. They did not play over the weekend. They were on the road. But like our tropical storm that moved in, they had one. Ophelia, the remnants of Ophelia passed through New York over the weekend. And for some reason, the grounds crew at Citi Field forgot to put the tarp out on Saturday, the first day of the rain. And then they eventually put it out, but so much water had already gotten onto the field and under the tarp that by the time they pulled it off yesterday for their first home game against the Marlins, the field was a mess. It was unplayable.
That's unbelievable.
And they ended up, for safety reasons, postponing the game and scheduling a doubleheader. Well, Ken Rosenthal wrote about it in The Athletic. The headline, Marlins fighting for playoff spot. Furious game versus the Mets postponed because this really puts the Marlins in a tough spot. They're 6 games above 500. They're half a game out of a playoff spot. So they're thinking we need 5-1, 6-0 to make the playoffs. But by making today's game into a doubleheader when it didn't have to be, it didn't rain yesterday. They could have played it, but the field was not taken care of properly. So now they're throwing Braxton Garrett in the first game of the doubleheader today and a bullpen game in the second game. And then if they get to Sunday and they're still in it, they're already down a couple of pitchers with Alcantara is hurt and someone else is on the injured list as well. Garrett was supposed to pitch Tuesday and Sunday. Now he'll have to either go on 3 days rest or they'll have to do another bullpen game. I'm sure our friend Skip Schumacher is fuming. Yeah. It's like, obviously, if it rains, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't play.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it is what it is.
But when it rains on Saturday, you feel like we should be able to play on Tuesday, but they were unable to play. They're getting the field ready for a doubleheader today, but now it just adds to the degree of difficulty for the Miami Marlins in these last 6 games of the season.
That's about as sketch as it gets. There's no good reason. There's no good reason behind why they wouldn't handle their business in New York. I know that they're out of it, but that's pretty low. That's pretty low, even for the Mets, my friend. And I got a great do this for you.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Brandon Godin, is that how you say his name? He is the broadcaster for, I believe, the Atlanta Braves, and he announced this pitching change last night. It was one of the more clever announcements you've ever heard.
So the Braves will go from Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastroboni. That's probably a good thing Jeff Francoeur's in the other booth.
He would have sniggled like I just did when I heard it as well. The only thing that
even I could,
the only thing that would have made it better is that if it was former Braves manager making the pitching change, Bobby Cox would have been great. Bobby Cox out to.
So the Braves will go from Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastroboni. That's probably a good thing Jeff Francoeur's in the other booth.
Mastroboni, by the way. You think that guy ever wore it when he was a little guy?
I'm sure he did. I saw someone point out as well.
I promise you he did.
I guarantee.
I think I saw a tweet. Even 2 Cy Youngs will not make up for the fact that Blake Snell was called Blake Smell.
Yes,
growing up as a child. I mean,
There's
we
no
never
doubt.
asked him about that. How many times do you think he was teased about being Blake Snell?
I would like to ask him, but we don't ever talk to him anymore. It's been 700 days since we've talked to our pal Blake Snell. Wasn't it during the? Was it? I remember vividly doing a Zoom with him on my bed. Then he sang a song for us, but I think that was
the first time we had him on.
Yeah, it's been a while. I would love to ask him. Blake Smell. You know it happened. Do you have any? Have I asked you this? Do you have any nicknames?
Not really.
I didn't really either.
Higgy.
I mean, yeah, Higgy.
That's what Mark Loretta calls me.
And Mud Grant calls you Higgy.
Yeah. Mud calls me that too.
Do you ever have any? Reindl the Schmeindl? It's not even a word.
Paulie,
yeah. Woodsy. I mean, but no, like, oh, look, it's, Booger Reindl or anything. Like, nobody, there was nothing that, they could make fun of.
Ben the Hen.
Yeah, stuff like that. Nothing.
I probably heard that once or twice.
Ben the Hen?
Yeah.
It's weak.
It's weak.
It's absolutely weak.
Yeah.
You just look at him and go, good one. Walk away.
There was a joint, an aching cream that was.
Ben Gay.
Yeah,
Ben
we got
Gay.
that sometimes.
Kids are so mean.
They are so mean. They'll try to come up with anything.
My son, he goes by Bo, but his real first name is Lauren, named after my late father-in-law, Lauren Nancaro, who's his birthday today. Happy heavenly birthday. But when kids find out that it's Lauren, he's going to get teased. That's why I begged my wife, let's go Bo Lauren. She said, no, it's got to be Lauren Bo. I said, we should just do Bo Lauren. No one will ever know his middle name because the first day of school, Lauren, it's me. I go by Bo. Like, he's going to have to do this for the rest of his life. Yeah. And I just said, I go, baby, I was teased mercilessly. We all were when we were kids. Like, let's not give them, the first strike. Let's let them, he's got to earn it. But no dice. So it's fine. Mastroboni, though, is one of my favorite names.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
So the Braves will go from Johnson to Hand, and the batter will be Mastroboni.
Jeff Francoeur would have sniggled. I love it. I think
That's probably a good thing Jeff Francoeur's in the other booth.
Johnson to Hand.
Technically, it would be other. The Braves went from Hand to Johnson, and Mastroboni is in the box.
In the box.
That's Don't and Do This for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're going to a Parts Unknown, hopefully next. Adam Jones, the 5-time All-Star, will join us. I'll talk a little bit about the legacy of Brooks Robinson, who passed away, Orioles legend, and someone Adam got to know really well as part of the Orioles family. That and more next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Adam Jones coming up momentarily. This hour on The Fan brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you worried you're going to lose your home? The Balance Foreclosure Prevention Team can help provide assistance and info to guide you to avoid default and foreclosure. Call to schedule an appointment at 1-888-456-2227 or visit BalancePro.org. All right, it looks like Paul is setting up AJ from Places Far Flung. We will get to Adam Jones right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Caltrans, reminding you to avoid the 5 for a faster ride this Friday. We had this earlier accident south on 5 before Imperial, but now there's a crash involving a motorcycle right at Imperial. Tow truck is on scene, not showing if any lanes are blocked. Also going to find lots of company on the Coronado Bridge. It's backed up full span. Northbound 5 right at the eastbound 8 connector ramp. We have reports of a stalled pickup truck over to the right shoulder. Caltrans reminds you to avoid the 5 for a faster drive beginning 9 p.m. this Friday. Northbound 5 will have limited access to downtown San Diego beginning at State Route 15 until 5 a.m. Monday, October 2nd. Use northbound 805 or 15 to avoid delay. I'm Kelly Tannick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, I'm jealous because, as I understand it, tomorrow Adam Jones will be heading to Italy for the Ryder Cup, which begins Friday with the first of the foursome and 4-ball matches. But for now, he still joins us from Barcelona, Spain, on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. AJ, good morning.
Good afternoon. Good morning. It depends on how you're doing. I've
Yeah.
already had my morning coffee, got round of golf, and it's a very beautiful day out here.
Ryder Cup. You've never been to one, or have you?
Hell no, I ain't never been to a Ryder Cup. I get to do I'm retired now. I get to do all the cool things, man.
And you're doing it
Like,
too. Soccer
the coolest
matches.
thing is
Yeah.
right. You're retired, young. You got a little bit of scratch. Like, yeah, it's pretty solid.
Don't you remember all those times he left the team in the late in the season to leave for the Ryder Cup?
I've got to go to the Ryder
in
Cup.
September.
Well, he's been
We're in a pennant race, Adam.
He's been retired for I guess he's only been retired
Like a
officially now
week.
for a couple weeks. So yeah, good for you.
1 week, less than a week.
Way to live it up, man. I'm very jealous as well.
It's so fun to have Adam on every week for the last year and
Yeah.
a half and just see all the cool places he's been. You going to Oktoberfest again?
Oh my
in
God!
a couple weeks?
Yes, he did that too.
Remember, he called us from Oktoberfest.
Hammered.
Hey, hammered. And I'm missing it. I'm missing it by a day because I'm gonna go to Milwaukee to watch the Brewers. I don't know who they're gonna face, either the Cubs or the Diamondbacks or the Reds, whoever they're gonna face.
The Padres, they're not
Padres,
eliminated
maybe,
yet.
maybe.
Not eliminated yet. Hey, man. Hey, again, it's hurt. I kept saying the fat lady ain't saying, and you guys kept saying, she's approaching the stage.
She's
She's warming up.
That's so good. Talking to our pal Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning. So I want to get into the stuff that happened with the Padres, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your relationship with now the late great Brooks Robinson, who is the gold standard third baseman. Ben and I were talking about it earlier. AJ, we're both 48. Can vividly remember our dads sitting us down and showing us Brooks Robinson highlights and letting us know that's how you do it. That's how you play third base.
I mean, there's nothing you can say about the man. I mean, it's just pure awesomeness. He was just a great individual to his dying day, and he was an Oriole, bled it, and he said it early, and he said it in his Hall of Fame speech that a city that he's not from, they adopted him well. And that's what sports do. They bring people together. Again, I'm not from Baltimore. I'm from San Diego. I represent San Diego. I want some tacos right now. But Baltimore is my adopted place because of the sports and the community. So, and he taught me that, hey, embrace it. Live your life. You only get one. And the cool part is, you guys got to talk to Manny, also because just the impact that he had on him at a very young age, and Brooks just coming in, being around. Obviously, he was, 10, 11 years ago when he was a lot younger. He was around a tad bit more, and just the aura that he had when he was in the ballpark. And he was just that kind of guy. But then at the end of the day, he'll sign 400 things for you. And like, he would do anything for you. And, you know, baseball lost a very good guy, and he was the president of the MLBPA for years. I don't know how many emails he responded to, honestly. I mean, I can possibly tell you. Definitely not staying current upon what's going on. But he just was always involved with baseball, and all the early things that you hear about with the Marvin Miller, with BAT, with all these programs. He is at the forefront of everything. And, you know, his legacy is bigger than the field.
18-time All-Star.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, 1964 AL MVP, 2-time World Series champ, 1970 World Series MVP. They said he made so many incredible plays that World Series.
It's ungodly, man. Johnny Bench said, tweeted something yesterday about how he was 0 for 4 just because of Brooks Robinson in one game.
Nicknamed the vacuum cleaner.
Incredible.
Sucked everything up at third base.
Incredible, man. Incredible.
So, I mean, just for perspective, obviously, like in San Diego, Tony Gwynn's Mr. San Diego. In Baltimore, between him and Cal Ripken, how do they
how do they divvy
kind of divvy it up?
It's different.
Yeah,
it's a lot different. I mean, you're talking two completely different generations. I think the cool part about it is the people that are older and that was able to watch Brooks got to teach and, you know, got to watch it with their kids, and then they got to go flow into Brooks, into Palmer, into Eddie, into Cal, and then like they got really sad for a few years, and then into B-Rob, Markakis, myself, Machado, and then now you have another flow. So, you know, the Orioles tradition is pretty huge, man, and Brooks is at the forefront of it. You know, when the Orioles came from St. Louis in the early 50s, you know, it was a young Brooks who was one of their early stars, and he just made that franchise, and that bird, he made it famous. And don't hit the ball to him. And again, you get to watch a guy very similar. And, you know, when you watch the highlights of Brooks, it looks effortless. Like he's just having fun out there, just like a backyard. And the guy you get to see every day does the exact same thing. It's like he rolls out of bed, just give him his glove, and he got it. And sometimes you don't even need it.
Yeah, 100%. The bare hand plays that Manny makes too when he charges it's staggering. I mean, we've taken it for granted. I know I have. I'm so used to
missed it this month.
Yeah,
when he hasn't get to play in the field because of his elbow.
Missed it bad this month. Watching him play third is a revelation. You know, talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning. So I'm sure you saw all the hubbub from a couple nights ago. Josh Hader's comments after the game. We spent a little time on it yesterday. I'm over it. You know, at this point, it kind of is what it is. But I thought it was a nice statement by Lugo last night to go out and throw 123 pitches, really leave it out there on the mound. Can you tell us kind of what maybe was going through Josh Hader's head from the former player perspective?
I believe he said that, why am I going to go out for a four out save?
Yeah,
I believe. And you know, again, it is. I wouldn't like it because we're not mathematically out of it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Once you're mathematically out of it, I think some decisions can be altered. You know, like when you're mathematically out of it, some guys are going to lose playing time to younger guys. See what they got. It's
makes sense.
Things work. But I think until you're mathematically out of it, everything is a go. That's why it's like I was bullish with Manny about like his elbow is bothering him, but you're not mathematically out of it, and then you're in the midst of a 8-9 game winning streak, and it's like, well, can they reel off a 13 one real quick to make it real spicy? Like, there's just, there's so many things. I wouldn't have liked it. I understand it at the same time because, I mean, with a 1% chance to make it, it's bleak. So, I mean, I would understand it. As a player, like me fighting my ass off and my hips hurting, my back is killing me. My wrist is probably sore. A few fingers is twisted the other way. I wouldn't be too happy.
Talking to Adam Jones, 5-time All-Star with us here on Ben and Woods. Another report this week from The Athletic, the widespread speculation that Bob Melvin either going to leave the organization voluntarily or be fired. Now, Bob told us he's not a quitter. He's got a year left on his deal. He told Tony Gwynn Jr. He asked him, like, where's this coming from that I'm going to resign?
Well, it was in an article. So.
I'm not planning on it, but there is talk that he could be out. Knowing what we know, Adam, as well respected as he is in baseball and well respected as I believe he is in that Padres clubhouse. What do you think would be the reaction of a team when a manager that they like? I mean, everyone knows managers get fired, but oftentimes it's because they've lost the clubhouse, things aren't going well. When a manager like everyone goes, no, we want this guy here. Why are you getting rid of him? Is that what would be the reaction in a clubhouse like that?
Bob he's not young, and he's not old, but he's not young. I think that he's in his early 60s now. And, I always learn from Jim Tomei. Sometimes it's your time. I think he still has years left to manage just because he is just a baseball aficionado. Everybody that I've ever been around, I had him in my very first spring training. I had him there, and then he's just treated me like I was one of the guys and just told me to work my ass off. He also has if they fire him and keep paying him for next year, hit the golf course up a lot and take your 5.
Maybe go to a golf tournament or a soccer match or something. Yeah,
I'm just saying, take your wife on that summer vacation she's been wanting to go on for 48 years. There,
right,
Bob. Okay, your wife's been patient. Yeah, and wives are sports wives are extremely patient, especially baseball, because you get the summer. Like baseball wives miss the summer. And, once you retire, it's like you realize that the summer is expensive as all crap. So I could see both sides of it. I mean, I think Bob still has years in wisdom, in his body. He's still in great shape, looks in great shape. I don't personally know how his health is, but again, he looks in great shape. I just think he's really good for the team, for the guys. But if he decides that, you know what, I've had a lot of it, I've had enough of it. Oakland was completely different. You know what I mean? There's not many expectations. There's not many fans. There's not a lot of it. There's not much of nothing there. But in San Diego, you come there and it's like, hey, let's go. And you got people over the dugout yelling at you too. I done paid $1,500 a seat. Let's go. I need to win. And, you might be tired of it. Honestly, I mean, some people just get burnt out on it. And it takes time. There's a lot of guys you see stay around. Jack McKeon stayed till he was 80, I believe. Like, sometimes your time comes up and you never know when. And maybe it's his time to go relax. He's been in baseball forever.
That ever happened to you when you were playing, a manager that you loved and unceremoniously maybe canned at the end of the year? And I know, you hear players say it all the time, AJ. They say, man, that this is on us. We didn't play good enough. We cost a man his job. That ever happened to you in your career?
Hey, first off, I've learned, hey, don't ever feel bad for the next person, because you're going to always need a job, and you want to stay in this game as long as you can. Yep. And these jobs are incredibly hard to get. So it happens. People going to get fired. That's why you see coaches they'll be in the organization. They'll get demoted from a major league coach and be the instructor in the minor leagues, just to be in the organization. They don't care. But that's a tough one, because I don't know. I think Bob should be around. But again, you know what? What about fresh blood? What about Flash? You know what I mean? What about doing something young, doing something exciting? You have a young team also. I know they're incredibly rich players.
Yeah.
But what about Flash? What about a change? You know what I mean? Why not? It's just so many options. Again, there's going to be a lot of conversations. Again, we talked about it. The big boys need to sit down with the ownership, with the top brass, and see the direction of the team. Because
and each
at
other.
the end of the day,
does that happen?
You got guys there for 9 years.
Does that happen where like you're playing with a bunch of guys and maybe it did, I know you guys have team meetings and things like that, but is that ever happened to you in your career where you say, hey, after the season, we're getting together, we're going to go play 18 holes, we're going to go to the bar, we're going to go to a restaurant, and we're going to hash some of this crap out so that we're ready?
You got 3 guys, maybe a 4th in Juan Soto that are going to be here for a decade.
They got to figure it out.
They
need to go to Cancun or go see Adam Jones in Barcelona. You'll show them a good time and broker some peace or whatever. And not that there's any wars going on, but I do think it's important, man, that these guys do get on the same page no matter who's at the helm. next year, man. You can't have this stuff, every 2 months leaking out of the clubhouse.
No, and Manny I think he's going to have a surgery I believe at the end of the season. So that means his arm is going to be in a sling they're going to suggest he doesn't get on a plane for a couple weeks. That is the perfect time at his beautiful estate there, or go to wherever else he has residences and relax, get a nice expensive bottle of whatever your choice is, and just talk about the season, hash it out. We didn't do this, we didn't do that, we played bad. You know what I mean? And just get the core that's going to be there for a while and talk it out. Go play around the golf and talk it out. A couple rounds.
Not just, Manny though. Manny can watch.
Talk it out.
Manny can
catch. Manny can watch. Drive the cart. Drive the cart.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Mix cocktails. Yeah.
Keep it low. Keep it low on the cocktails. Back nine. Have a little more fun. Fun.
I've played golf with you. Day. Don't talk about keeping it low on the cocktails. I played golf with you. All right.
I said the back nine, dude.
You're the best, man.
Before you go, speaking of golf, is there any players that you're like most interested in following when you get out to the Ryder Cup? Are you San Diego's Xander Schauffele, Ricky Fowler, Brooks Koepka? Or are you like a Euro now? You're going to be John Rahm, Rory McIlroy over there?
Well, I played with my Spanish friends today, and they're like, "Hey, if you're not rooting for Europe, don't come back here." And I'm like, "Hey, no, you crazy? I'm going for America." I'm excited to see everybody. It's hard to just say I want to see this person, that person. I know Homa, but I want to see just how straight and how they escape and how they putt. Like again, I know they all bomb it. Some guys bomb it more, but I just want to see and watch their precision on this damn short game that I'm having just a tremendous time trying to conquer, which everybody else does also. But I just want to see when this competition is, everybody is just right over top of you. I just want to see just this short game and how they play as a unit.
It's remarkable.
Just enjoy the atmosphere. And I'm definitely gonna buy all the clothes. I'm gonna be one of those guys.
Yeah, you have that guy. Outfit. The Ryder Cup towel, 100%. The hat, the shirt, the pullover.
100%.
Yeah, I made that mistake. I made that mistake at the U.S. Open, and now I kind of feel like a dork with a U.S. Open towel on my bag. Oh, did you play the U.S. Open? Absolutely not. I'm 15, so no, I did not.
Well, I'm jealous. Have fun. We'll get a recap from you next week, but root the U.S. team onto a victory. They haven't won on foreign soil in 30 years, so they need your help out there, Adam. Good luck.
Let's go, USA.
There he is. Adam Jones on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet finding roads. I am very jealous. I mean, I've always wanted to go to a Ryder Cup, but to go to one, I mean, in Rome, in Italy, I mean, there's a destination for you. You get the food, you get should be the nice weather right now, the greatest golfers in the world, and a team competition with that environment that, in Europe, they are loud and passionate. It's the one tournament you actually can root against guys. And it's okay. Like boo the other team in golf.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ryder Cup is just electric, and I'm going to have to find a way to weasel in some viewer time this weekend.
I want to get to some calls from Padres fans as we get here the final week of the season, some thoughts on what Adam just said and more coming up next. 833-288-0973. Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah. Welcome back, halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. Thank you for being here. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. And to my left, Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Today is National Morning Show Hosts Day. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the kindest, sweetest, most loyal, and most patient group of listeners and audience that anybody could ever dream of. The tier ones out there, you guys are incredible. We really tested your patience last night. So as a lot of you know, we're on YouTube as well. We do the radio show, but we simulcast it to YouTube. You can watch us. Don't know why you would, but you do. It's been very popular. It's growing every day. If you want to go check it out on YouTube, please do it. Hit join or subscribe or whatever, and you can, it helps build our you want to have a nice big YouTube following as well. But last night we do this.
It's our fault. We're like 6 years behind.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we work in radio. That's how we roll here.
We're trying to catch up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But we have, and it's been great. And we've really enjoyed it. And it's opened up a whole new thing. I mean, I walked out this morning at 4:00 this morning to make my coffee and kiss my wife goodbye. And up on the big screen was Ben and Woods. They were waiting for our show to start, and it was already on the big screen. So if you're at home or you can't listen on the radio or the Odyssey app or anything like that, it's a great way to consume Ben and Woods. We have a membership platform there as well. You can join. It's pretty inexpensive, but what we do once a month too is we do a member stream. And so on a Tuesday night, like we did last night, we put the game on and logged on to hang out with our members. And it didn't go well. It was not good. We had some technical issues. Technical issues, typically you think, 5, 10, 15 minutes. We were like 45 minutes of trying to get the stream going. So I wanted to thank the tier ones for their patience last night. Funny thing is, they could hear and see us. We couldn't see their comments. So we didn't know if they were active. So Ben and I are having a conversation. Paul's computer,
just 5 minutes before we go live.
Just crapped out.
I don't know what happened. I'd been working all day at my desk. I had everything set up at like 1 o'clock.
Sure.
I was getting work done. I had the camera set up. I had my mic ready to go. I'm like, cool. Worked all day. Restarted the computer about 20 minutes before you jumped on as we were getting ready for the stream. And it seemed fine. And then you couldn't hear me or I couldn't hear you or something. I'm like, all right, let me see what's going on. And then all of a sudden, like everything stopped. My computer just completely shut down on me. And I had no idea what was going on.
I fully panicked. I was in
I'm like,
full
Woods
panic
is
mode.
not going to know what's going on.
No
right now.
idea.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. Hang on one second. I'm like, F this. I'm going to grab my personal laptop. I'll just run it from there. Computer was dead.
Needed to juice it up.
Got to juice it up. MacBooks take forever to start up once they are dead.
It's kind of like when your phone dies, that feeling.
I logged into our streaming software. It's once I finally got up and running, log into the streaming software. I haven't used my personal laptop in a long time because I've got my work computer. Our streaming software is logged in through Sam Levitt's account. So he got a verification code. So then I had to text Sammy, hey, I need the code that you just got. Sitting here waiting for him. Finally it was
like 45 minutes.
Like 40 minutes.
Is it worse when you're stressed out, but you also know that you're causing stress to another person?
Yes, that's the worst part.
That's the worst part.
Being stressed is we all deal with it in our own ways, and something we all face every day. Everyone listening faces it every day. But when you're causing stress and you feel like you have let somebody down, it's the worst. As a people pleaser, dude,
with that kind of stuff, I feel like I'm pretty dependable.
No doubt.
And for it to have been working all day, I got a ton of work done throughout the afternoon.
Woods wasn't going like,
damn it, Paul.
He knew that this was an anomaly, but at the same time, you also knew that he is just like, oh, this is terrible. Like, he's every second feels
real.
like
it's not like I can just text Woods, hey, you run it for
me.
For now.
Every second though for Woods is like an eternity. Now for me, I'm just kind of sitting there doing my normal thing.
He was at work.
Like if Ben had to bail on our show right now, you're not worried that Woods doesn't know how to use a microphone.
Right. Exactly.
We'll be fine.
But it's the differences in our personalities. You weren't worried about me. You were worried about him.
Yeah. Well, I'm also the most likely to snap, and
that's true too.
At the table.
It's both the good and the bad, though. I mean, we need that from you. We need you. If we were both
I
me,
want you to be authentically
there
you.
really wouldn't be a lot of
I was
impetus.
And then when we finally get in the stream and we're
Yeah.
live, we're going like, why can't we see what everyone? Usually, we can see all the comments.
Yeah.
And I still believe because I mean I did everything right. It's worked the last 6 months or whatever. It looks like YouTube changed their policies on allowing comments to go to a third-party streaming
Private
software
streaming,
when it's a private video.
It sucked.
So we just opened it up for all members, not just the tier 1 gold. We opened it up for everybody, which I think was great. I think it was fun. It is the little perk for paying the extra $5 a month on our membership plan, but I thought it was fun to have everybody that's a member in there for the last one of the regular season. And Ben cursed, which is
No, I didn't.
you did.
No,
I wouldn't do
that
that.
was the special treat.
I would not do that.
And let me tell you
I
guys.
felt disgusting when it happened.
Let me tell you guys. He knocked it out of the park. He really 3 times.
I have good mentors.
It was. Yes, you do. You really have studied under the master of the foul mouth.
Just biding my time for years.
Yeah.
To see how it's done properly.
My 5-year-old did sign off by saying good night, D-heads, to everyone in the chat. So that was a moment of parental pride, certainly. But no, it's a lot of fun. We're going to be doing it for the rest of the year. We'll jump on once a month and do a member stream. And then, when Paulie and I will be going to fantasy camp in January, we're going to do some then. So it's a good time to be in. Go join the page
Probably
and all
get
that.
multiple streams in January.
Yeah.
We'll be bored at 7 o'clock at night.
That's exactly right. I may set up a camera to watch Paul sleep, which would be fun. To be like the Truman Show. We just film
your Airbnb.
Film everything. Paulie in bed, asleep, sweetly nestled up in an Airbnb. So no, it was great. Thank you guys for joining.
Vinny says Paul had to shower after Ben's filthy language.
It was really.
It was uncomfortable.
It was.
Not, it was.
You were uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable,
but it was great.
I loved it.
It was great.
I want more of it.
You knocked it out.
Why did it even promise? Did I promise if the Padres won 4 in a row?
No, it was like 6 in a row.
6 in a row.
Yeah.
I would do it. I felt like, well, I'd be happy to do it because the Padres will be back in a playoff race, and that's what we're looking for. So I will pay that price. Again, be careful what you wish for, because I didn't think the Padres would win their 6 in a row, yet it wouldn't make any difference at all.
That's exactly.
And they'd still be out of it here at the end. Not that they're totally out of it. Joe asked, Ben, what's the updated scenario for the Padres to sneak in?
Lay it on me.
All right, here it is. Padres 4-0, obviously.
Okay.
You got to win the last 4 games. Cubs, we already told you, 0-5. They got to lose their last 5.
It's a 1 loss for the Padres, and they're out.
Yeah. Marlins 1-5. Exactly. Marlins go 0-6. You're out of luck. Marlins go 2-4. You're out of luck. Marlins have to go 1-5 exactly in their last 6. And the Reds have to go either 1-3 or 0-4. If all of those things happen, Padres would get in the playoffs in a 3 or 4-way tie for the last wild card spot. Those are your remaining scenarios.
It's bleak. It's very bleak. It is very bleak.
The schedule today, because there's a doubleheader, so you start with the Marlins and the Mets at 1:10 this afternoon. Now, you can't be eliminated because you do need that one Marlins win.
Correct.
So you can't be eliminated by that game. You could
if they sweep the doubleheader.
If they
it's
sweep
over.
the doubleheader, though, it's done for the Padres. Game 2 is at 4:10. The Chicago Cubs are again in Atlanta at 4:20. If the Cubs win that game, the Padres are eliminated. So, and then the Reds, as I said, you can survive one Reds win still. They are in Cleveland at 3:10. So you could be eliminated by 2 Miami wins or 1 Chicago win. Maybe, probably not quite before the Padres game starts, but early in the game. However, if the Marlins don't sweep and the Braves beat the Cubs again, Padres would still be able to stay alive for another day with a win tonight and get yourself to Thursday and get yourself one day closer.
Good, like 1 out of 100. I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000. So you're telling me there's a chance?
One of the best films in American history. Dumb and Dumber. I'm sure Ben doesn't like it, but it's a very, very good film. Just kind of ready for it. I'm bracing.
You want to rip the Band-Aid off?
I do, man.
I've been ready for like a week.
Yeah, we're really like this is pulling fingernails at this point, but there's just so much has to go in the Padres' favor. You'd love to have been to the point where it's like hey, if we win our last 4, we're going to the playoffs. That'd be electric. I mean, we'd be holding rallies and stuff at bars tonight, and it just was not the case. So many close games slipped through their fingers. All the extra inning games slipped through their fingers. Every day it comes out, there's a new stat, Ben, that you look at and say, like they showed the graphic last night, most quality starts by far of any other team in baseball, and you're like, you got a Cy Young winner, you got a Gold Glove right fielder, you've got Juan Soto having a really, really nice season. You have all these numbers and these stats, and you go, yeah, there's no way we shouldn't be in, and here we sit.
Yeah, the Padres are, and I was thinking about this last night, are in a position you almost never see a team in. Both coming off an incredibly disappointing season, but also have all these players with huge numbers that you've got to like worry about re-signing. Normally, if you had a bad year, you don't really care about losing the players. You're like, good, we need to switch players out. We had a terrible year. Get rid of the pitching staff. Yeah, they're all free agents. Great. We had a terrible year. We need to make changes, start fresh. This is not the case to the Padres. They had a terrible season filled with a ton of players you would like to have back, yet you will have trouble re-signing them. It is, you don't ever really see that in sports.
Well, I made the point yesterday talking about how there's been several guys in the history of this franchise, at least since I've been here, Ben, and when I moved here in 2010, and seemingly every year somebody comes out and says, oh, we took our foot off the gas or we quit, and it really rubs me the wrong way. It does to come out and say that, you didn't give it everything you had. Strangely enough, I said, this is the place where people come to cruise. Well, in certain people's cases, Ben, this is the place to come and shine in your walk year, because so many of those guys have earned themselves, bigger paydays, and they're going to be more than likely leaving the team, moving on to richer pastures, maybe not greener, but certainly richer pastures.
Catch 22 if you're AJ Preller. It's
right.
Like, all right, well, all these guys I'm signing to the short-term deals, I wish I had signed to long-term deals, whereas some of the guys on the long-term deals may have played better if they were on the short-term. I mean, would Juan Soto be Juan Soto if he wasn't still driving for the contract? I'd like to think that he will be.
I do too.
But is it going to shock anyone if he gets a $500 million deal and then, he's good still, but he's not knocking anyone's socks off?
I think that would shock me.
That would shock you.
Yeah.
He will remain
an elite talent,
an elite top player in baseball, even set for life, long-term contract.
I think so.
Okay.
I do. I think he's got the thing.
I think Manny has too. I think, Manny got some criticism this year because of how he struggled. The tennis elbow is not new. He's been dealing with that, he said, for at least 2 years. So I think it's logical to conclude that it has been bothering him all season long. And he still put up pretty good numbers, playing hurt likely all year long. And hopefully, he comes back after the surgery next year and can have a nice, healthy season that he really looks like back to the MVP Manny, not just the really good Manny, but the next level MVP type Manny that we saw in 2022. Padres will need more of that from him next year.
Well, and signs on Xander Bogaerts, pointing in the right direction, I guess. And what is the underlying thing of the offseason for me is, and I don't know how you fix it, but next year when the guys come in ready to go, you got to figure out how, like Skip Schumacher said, to win some games early, like to win some close games early. Don't let that specter linger over you, the specter of massive underachievement in extra inning games, massive underachievement in one-run games. That's got to be flushed day one. I mean, if they get a nice comeback win in the 10th inning on opening day, and this season is already a rousing success, in my opinion, because that's really what's been the Achilles heel and hitting with runners in scoring position. All of that, they really started to mash, Ben, with runners in scoring position when they were kind of out of it, and that narrative needs to flip.
I want to talk, get some calls from the tier ones, 833-288-0973. Some interesting comments from Tony Gwynn Jr. We're going to play about Bob Melvin and his status that I heard earlier this week. We're going to bring that back on will Bob be back next season? Get your thoughts as well. Again, the phone lines are open. 833-288-0973. Sad that we're at this point. Bob Watch.
Mortifying.
But we're clearly there. That's coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. I don't think anyone knows exactly what's going on in Bob Melvin's head, but Tony Gwynn Jr. is a good place to start.
Sure.
It's Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan, 823 Wednesday morning.
Hey, we're not a bad place to start. I mean, he told us first.
He did.
Yeah.
And we played that audio earlier this week.
Yeah.
Directly from Bob Melvin's last conversation with us a couple of Fridays ago. Said, hey, I've got 1 year left in my contract. I don't walk away from things. I'm planning to stick it out. So that was horse's mouth. But Tony Gwynn Jr. had a recent conversation with Bob Melvin and relayed it on the Gwynn and Chris program this week as well. And we're going to play that for you in just a moment.
On this team, and you told me you had a chance to talk with him about this very subject. I don't know, how much.
mean, he just was wondering, he was asking me where that narrative was coming from in terms of him quitting. Like, they don't give away these jobs very often. There's only 30 of them. And so I think to make a long story short, he's not going to be quitting when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean the Padres could decide to go a different route, but it ain't going to be because he says, I'm quitting. I'm not coming back. He is under contract through next year, and I think his intention is certainly to be back.
It's always a good move when you have I think $4 million a year remaining. No, if you don't want me here, you're always welcome to fire me, and I'll take your money.
There's no way he's just walking away and saying, "Keep your money. I'm out of here." But
it's definitely a good strategy.
Can I offer a reasonable sounding scenario that would be framed as Bob Melvin resigning or a mutual parting of the ways, where Bob, thinking rightfully so that there could be other openings that he would be a leading candidate for, certainly someone that a number of teams that are looking for a manager this offseason would quickly pick up the phone and give Bob Melvin a call. If he goes to the Padres and goes, I'm not planning on resigning, but if you really are not happy with this relationship, if you'd like to buy me out, for 3/4 of it, or 80% of it,
why would you leave that on the table?
Well, I
He
mean,
didn't do anything.
Yeah,
He's like, I got a contract.
because then you don't have to say you were fired. You get to say we just had a mutual parting of the ways.
Does anyone
walk away with a little more respect?
Will anyone believe it? I won't.
I don't know.
I will not. I'm sorry, I will not.
And then
Whether he's fired or walking away, Bob Melvin will have a job.
And then you
waiting
can
for him.
sign right away with someone else and get double paid.
I love the double pay. The double pay is a good bit.
You get double
You can
paid
get that
with your
going.
new team.
If you can get a double pay,
if he wants a year off, there's no reason to walk away at all. You just say, all right, if you don't want me here, fire me. I'll take a year off and you can pay me. But if he wants to get right back into it, you can get bought out and get double paid for next year from another team that would be very interested in hiring Bob Melvin.
I think it's one of the dumber things he could do is agree to anything. Honestly, if they don't want him here, great, fire me. I mean, everyone around baseball, Ben, do you think the perception of Bob Melvin is going to go down because A.J. Preller fired him? No. Everyone around baseball go, I get it. This is what happens every couple of years
If
in San
I'm
Diego.
Bob too, I would be like, no, you fire me.
Fire me.
Because
I want it on record.
everyone in
Yes.
baseball to know that you fired another manager. And you're
Correct.
going to be on your fifth manager in 6 years or whatever.
In a New York minute, I would not let anybody off the hook. If that was how it went down,
You're not
I'd
saving
say,
any face on this one.
no,
buddy.
fire me. There will be no amicable parting of the ways. You didn't want me here. I'm out. Everyone around baseball will go, what in the world? What in the world? What are they doing down there in San Diego? Which, by the way, is kind of what they've been writing about all season long. So just more fodder for them.
I don't think everyone thinks that way. I think some people like the idea of leaving, at least sounding on your own terms, as opposed to having it dictated to you by someone else.
I don't think it would affect his legacy or his prospects or in the slightest. I don't. I mean, he's got a long enough track record. It's not Jace Tingler, right? I mean, Jace caught on with Minnesota. They're going to the playoffs. He's a bench coach, and it's not going to affect him one bit.
It already happened here in San Diego. Bruce Bochy had a year left on his deal, I believe. And instead of being fired by the Padres, who were ready to go in a different direction, but weren't quite ready to fire Bruce Bochy, just like it would be hard to fire Bob Melvin. They decided, let's have a mutual parting of the ways, and Boch got the job in San Francisco. They hired Bud Black here in San Diego. Worked out really well for Boch.
Fantastic.
Up there. And, that was more of a mutual parting of the ways. At least that's how it was framed.
Sure.
Now, it was in the air that Boch wasn't going to be coming back one way or another probably next season.
Based on just, like you said, things in the air about that era. It was before my time, certainly, but it was not something that Boch took particularly well. And there was, the fact that he got the opportunity in San Francisco and went on to the success that he had. There has always been a bit of a well-deserved, I think, chip on his shoulder about the San Diego Padres, as there should have been. I mean, look what he was able to do after leaving.
I mean, it wasn't like Boch was here for 2 years and didn't get a chance, though. I mean, he was here for a long time as the manager, and at some point, I think in any relationship, when you're there that long, sometimes it's healthy to move on to somewhere else.
You're right. I'm quitting right now. It's healthy. No, I don't know. I just think it's like he said, he's not walking away. He's not. He said it to us, said it to Tony. Doesn't really know where the narrative came from. It, of course, came from the Dennis Lynn article in The Athletic is where it was first reported.
I have one more year left in my contract.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to finish out what I started.
Yeah, he's not going to give anybody the, oh, no, it's fine. Let's just part ways.
Now, if he wanted to go, he could I demand an extension. I don't want to be a lame duck. But he said, I'm not planning to play that game where, I can't come back without being given some assurances or, will I have the respect if they know I'm a lame duck? He doesn't care about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go out to the phones. 833-288-097. It's bottom of the hour.
Break.
You're right. Sorry. Just looked up the clock. Time flies when you're having fun. All right.
So sorry to all the callers.
That's right. We'll get to the phones in the next segment. 833-288-0973. We're here. We got some time. When we come back, get your thoughts on Bob Melvin's status and how you see this playing out in the next week. We're 5 days away from what could be decision day for the Padres here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. Does Bob Melvin get fired? Does he get another job somewhere else? What's going to happen in this next week? We're taking your phone calls, 833-288-0973. First, this segment of Ben and Woods brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Fall is here, and at Ashley, seasonal decorating is a breeze. Snuggle up on a sectional, gather outside with a new fire pit or conversation set. Ashley has everything you'll need. Shop in store or visit ashley.com today. Got some phone callers on the line if you want to join them. 833-288-0973. Get to that right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Got a collision involving a motorcycle northbound 5 at Main Division. It's got the right lane blocked. Watch out for a mattress reported on the 28th Street off-ramp, eastbound King Freeway. In the North County, eastbound side of the 78, right before the 15, 3-vehicle accident. That is over the right shoulder. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go out to the calls. We're taking your thoughts on Bob Melvin, or if you want to expand that conversation, we can certainly do that. Mike is first up here with Ben and Woods. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Right on.
Mike, you there? I know you just talked to Paul like 2 seconds ago. You're on the air with Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan.
Good talk.
All right, let's go. I just heard him just a second ago. Mike, are you there?
Oh yeah,
yeah, there he is.
Hey, all right.
I think so. Oh, I must have been in a dead spot. Hey, thanks for waiting for me.
No worries.
Yeah, I mean, I love Bob Melvin. I think he's a great baseball guy, as everybody knows. But sometimes things just don't work out, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It just is what it is. And this year, as you guys were talking about earlier, we have all these star players putting up amazing numbers, Cy Young year, everything you just said, and then it just isn't clicking. And that missing ingredient, secret sauce, that's got to be the manager's responsibility. So I love the guy, I wish him well, but he's just not doing it.
That's fair.
Who is who would be a better fit in your opinion?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
That's the one that keeps me up, right? Like, if not him, then who? And I hear even Adam Jones said Ryan Flaherty, and I'm like, AJ, that's your friend. Like Ryan Flaherty, who's been who's been the offensive coordinator this year. I don't know that.
What makes you think Ryan Flaherty would be the guy?
He knows the players. They know him. They trust him, but do they respect him?
Because they know Bob knows the players and they respect him, and he's got a lot of experience doing this. I think the question is, and I think Mike brought up a great point. Manager absolutely is partly or even largely responsible for a disappointing baseball team. The question you need to ask, though, is, do you expect the same thing to happen next year? Because it didn't happen last year. They surged at the end. They made it to the NLCS under Bob Melvin.
They surged at the end this year when it didn't really matter.
The question is, every manager is going to have an off season. Do you think that Bob Melvin is the kind of guy who it will linger into another year and you'll go, man, we should have fired him when we had the chance at the end of last year? Or will you go, you know what? I'm so glad we didn't fire Bob Melvin, even though a lot of people thought maybe we should, or maybe the obvious thing to do would be to change managers, because sometimes you have to have faith that, some seasons are anomalies and you come back next year and it looks very different.
And the question I think Padres fans are asking, which season was the anomaly? Was it last season or was it this season? And for me personally, I mean, I don't owe Bob Melvin money or anything like that. That's not why I'm lobbying. I'm not doing him a solid. I just happen to think, again, based on the people I've talked to a 100% approval rate to all of the people around baseball, players, managers, ex-managers, ex-players, said, guy's the freaking best. And the fact that we've talked to him, did we have a better rapport with Jace Tingler? Probably. Yeah, probably. But I want a steady hand. And I think in this tumultuous organization of constant turnover, it's constant. It's shuffling in and out and 10 guys at a time. I want a steady hand, and I don't think you're going to find much steadier hand than Bob Melvin.
Let's go to Lenny and LeMay.
Lenny,
do you know I have
holy
known
smokes.
Lenny?
Yeah, for like 30 years.
Like 30 years before I was even in radio. Lenny, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Always great to hear, talk to you. I listen all the time.
Thank you, buddy.
First of all, I was really disappointed they brought in Hader last night for the one save.
I know.
I know that the Padres knew his limits, but sometimes you got to step outside your limit just to give what the team needs. As far as the manager goes, I love BoMel, but the truth is, AJ Preller is Seidler's man. It's his philosophy. If you look at the numbers, they haven't done great under Preller's guidance. And I think they're just going to, if you get rid of Preller, then you have to change the organization. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to get BoMel and find some guy that Preller can work with, and maybe it'll be different. Baseball's different. I'm old school like you guys, you got to let, what did Parcells say? If I'm going to do the cooking, let me buy the groceries.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works anymore in baseball.
No, it's definitely not. And I think somebody made the point we were talking about, somebody asked, does Bob Melvin actually have the lineup? And we kind of kicked it around and said, probably not. No, he probably doesn't. And I said, there's probably not one manager in professional baseball from rookie ball, instructionals that has the lineup.
Well, the minor league guys don't have any control over anything at all. Really.
Right. Players, their roster, like nothing.
How many innings a pitcher can go.
Correct.
It's all handed down by the organization.
That's like getting, you get the Oscar winners and they're like, all right, how much is he going tonight? 4. All right, we got him for 4.
How does anyone even prepare to be a manager nowadays? I wonder. If you're a minor league manager, that doesn't prepare you for being a major league manager. Job's completely different.
It's completely different. But I think what it does do is, how do you manage, in that case, professionals, but very young professionals? Like, can you, like a guy like Philip Wellman, who's been doing this forever and is phenomenal at it, you wonder what it would be like for him to get up to the big league level. Like, if Philip Wellman was the manager of the Padres, by the way, I'm all for it. I think it would, if it ain't Bob, give me Philip. But you wonder if Philip would be like looking around the clubhouse going, are you guys effing kidding me right now? He doesn't mess around.
Pat Murphy was kind of that longtime college manager, but you come in and it's different with professionals, and it doesn't always translate. Even a great coach / manager in a professional environment, it's totally different. Lenny brought up another point that I want to discuss as well. He said AJ's philosophy may not just mesh. What is AJ's philosophy?
What is it?
Can anyone actually put it down into a paragraph? Give me a piece of statement.
You said it yesterday.
He's an agent of chaos. Yeah, he is an agent of chaos. Obviously, he loves talent. He loves shiny talent and tries to acquire as much of it as possible. But beyond that, because I would say most general managers are in the business of acquiring talent when they can. There's not one GM that goes, yeah, that guy's just too talented for our organization. I'm not really a talent guy myself. Everyone, there's some that probably value cohesion and, the doing the little things more than others, but there's not a GM in the world that will turn down talent when it's presented to them. They mold it, we'll take it. But beyond that, what is AJ's philosophy? What's the philosophy of the Padres? What's their mission statement here? Because I don't really know. And, I've been watching this team under AJ for a decade. I don't really know exactly what it is. What's the identity of the San Diego Padres?
I have no idea.
Is that a problem?
I honestly.
Seems like a problem to me.
Yeah, Diesel says buy high, sell low. Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
Maybe the result. I hope that's not actually written down on a piece of paper somewhere.
Pivoted from catchers to shortstops.
Yeah, we have a lot of affinity for catchers.
Athletes on the field. That's at least partly a philosophy.
Sure. Yeah.
Really good athletes.
Play a new position every year.
We will move you around.
The Dodgers do that too, though. That's not a deal breaker in terms of you can't be successful if you do that, because other teams do it and have success. Other teams have really good athletes and have success. What are we missing here? What's the missing ingredient? under the AJ Preller regime?
You know, I think I would say consistency.
There you go.
And that's really what's been missing. And look, I don't know how else you judge a GM other than the record. I don't like if there's a better way for me to judge a general manager than wins and losses after 9 years. I don't know how to do it. Now I could say farm, and the farm is allegedly back to, where it needs to be by all the metrics and rankings and things like that. I could say culture, like when Mike Elias took over in Baltimore, it was like, it's going to be lean, but we're going to, I know patience is not in the philosophy for the San Diego Padres. I wouldn't say. There's been a lot of splash and a lot of sizzle, not a lot of steak.
No, yeah, I mean, the first few years of AJ's, after the 2015 splash, there was years of patience, and he wasn't really evaluated on wins and losses in 2016, 2017,
18,
2018,
19, short season 20.
Started to, in 2019 was a little disappointing after they went out and signed Hosmer and Tatis came up, and you were disappointed at the end of that season and how it didn't work out. But then 2020, it started transitioning into this is now you're judged on wins and losses. But we were pretty patient the first few years in waiting to evaluate AJ. So I think we both fairly say, hey, you can't really judge him on the 2017 record. We weren't expecting much. It was a building phase. At the same time, you could have surprised us in one of those seasons. Overperformed.
Could have gotten there early,
even if you didn't make the playoffs.
Do.
Yeah, you could have shocked us with an 84 and 78 record in one of those years, and they didn't. They didn't overperform. In fact, you can make the argument
that they've never.
That other than in the 60-game pandemic season, which they went like 37 and 23 or something, the Padres have never overperformed our expectations under AJ Preller.
No. I think that's fair.
He's good at setting really high expectations for everybody, but never exceeding those high expectations.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's every GM's going to have missteps in trades. Every GM's going to have missteps in the draft. Some of the ones that you see. One of the guys on the Orioles, watching him pitch, and you're just like, oh my God, we took Ryan Weathers 5 spots ahead of that guy. Like, it makes you want to die. It makes you want to die inside. But look, that's going to happen to every single GM. Just go back through a draft and be like, how did Alex Anthopoulos miss out on this guy when he was right there and you ended up with him? It does happen a lot. It's just happened, I think, too frequently to actually get to translate to wins on the field. And as far as philosophy goes, I'm down, Ben, for I like the idea of being strong up the middle. I like the idea of catchers and shortstops and center fielders and that whole scene. But it just has not, what is happening? What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm not on the screen anymore. My head is above the screen, and it's like not sure what's happened.
I texted you, so we did it off the air.
Yeah.
I lost my train.
I was just fixing my camera off the air. I unplugged it and plugged it back in because Paulie told me to, but my head is still not in the picture.
I forgot what I was saying.
You're easily distractible, aren't you?
Well, when my partner is next to me, rocking back and forth like he's at a concert and he's waving.
Was I doing something wrong?
I'm like, what happened? What's going on?
Wasn't I doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing there, Paulie?
I don't.
That's what you wanted me to do.
When
That's
you're
why I
on
texted
a
you
radio show, we're still on the radio. People can hear this product.
That's why I texted him separately, not on the microphone.
Right. We tried to do it quietly while you were talking, and
You're
you
the one
could
that
not
stopped down.
You could not handle something going on outside of your train of thought.
Okay. It's my fault. My fault.
That's
again.
what I'm saying here. Let's go to the phones again. Let's go to Matt. You're next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Matt, we could use some help right now.
Hey, you guys can hear me?
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
First time caller, long time listener.
Thank you,
I
buddy.
usually call into the coach's show, but been wanting to talk to you guys as well. I actually, since it's you guys have talked about actually not baseball, but you guys have talked about therapy. I kind of just wanted to mention something real quick, since it being Suicide Awareness Month. I actually just want to issue a challenge to you guys. With my background being in psychology, I just want to challenge you guys to pretty much just say hi to 5 random people, 5 random strangers.
No problem.
I like that.
Do that every day anyway. I'll do it today.
Exactly. I'm sure you do. But challenge other people. Because with that being said, psychology story to give you is there was a man who jumped off the San Francisco Bridge. And before he did that, he wrote a suicide letter. And in that letter, he said, if only one person had said hello to me on my way to that bridge, I wouldn't have jumped off. If only one person had said hello to make me feel alive and you could see me, I wouldn't have done it. So, yeah, that's my challenge for you guys.
Piece of cake, man. Thank you very much.
Love that.
Jocelyn says Ben can do it with his coworkers that he doesn't know. At
Yes,
the,
hi.
We got an
afterwards.
all-staff meeting
In an
after the show
hour.
today. Ben can just...
I am not good at going up to strangers and saying hello.
You know, like when you pass them on the street, you're like, how you doing? Morning. You don't do the morning?
Okay. I was getting coffee this morning,
Yeah.
and there was a guy walking past me, very well dressed for 5 a.m. Like he looked like a driver, almost like a limousine driver. He didn't have the hat, but he had the vest and the red tie and dark clothes, like he was driving some sort of limo. I didn't see a limo. He said, "Hey," and I came back with a, "Hey, how you doing?" And
Yeah,
we just
good.
walked by each
That's
other.
perfect.
So I did it once today, which is once more than I do it on most days. Actually, is that bad? I'm not an outgoing person when it comes to strangers.
No, it's not. You don't have to be outgoing. You have to walk up. Hey, how you doing, bud? How's the family?
I'll give a smile as I walk
hey,
by.
how you doing? All right, that's a challenge, an easy challenge.
Hard challenge.
I'll knock that out of the park today. I can't remember what I was saying. I think it was talking about philosophy. How it's just completely derailed now, just massively derailed. Any more calls?
Yeah, let's go to Tim. Tim,
Quickly,
let's wrap
Tim.
up this hour. We got about a minute here.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
Hi, Tim. Look,
Hey,
there's one of my 5 right there.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, I think we're asking the wrong questions. And what I mean by that is, we're asking, is Bob Melvin the right guy? Is AJ the right guy? And we're trying to look at their track records and everything else that they've done or haven't done. And really the question should be more about, what went wrong on the field, and why is it that we didn't play fundamental baseball? Why is it that we didn't advance runners? Why did we not do hit and runs? Why were some of the stupid decisions made for bringing this guy in or starting Rich Hill multiple times or, those types of questions and focus on that. And where did that come from? And by the way, because I know you said you only got a minute, is it just me or is AJ Preller going into radio silence and we're not hearing from him at all anymore?
Yeah, I mean, we talked to him
About a month ago.
I mean, a lot's happened since that time, so don't know when we'll get a chance to catch up with him again.
Well, I'll give full transparency. We asked for him last week.
Yeah.
When those articles came out, we said, hey, if he wants to come on and discuss any of this.
And he was quoted. I don't know if it was real time.
I don't know if that was. I never knew if that was real, like recent or old.
Or AJ said in the past.
Right.
All right, we are through 3 hours. We got 1 hour to go. Paulie's got some Reindl Report headlines, including the most creative NIL deal I've seen yet.
It's pretty fantastic
in college sports. That's ahead here on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Having a good conversation about Bob Melvin without reaching any definitive conclusions.
Got definitive conclusions.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you want to keep him.
Absolutely. It's malpractice if he goes.
I think it's fair to say that I agree with you. But I also acknowledge that if it's not going to work, and AJ is the general manager, and they don't feel like it can work, you can't force a situation that's not working. That's unhealthy. I'd like it to work. I'd like to think that a reasonable person, and I'm hoping that the general manager of the Padres is a reasonable person, could see all the qualities in Bob Melvin that would be desirable to keep around for another season if you're trying to win a World Series title.
Well, if that GM doesn't, another one will, I think, almost immediately. Right?
Do you feel like we're at that point? It's Bob or AJ? Is there a path? Do you see it? I mean,
I
a
hope
realistic
not.
path where they both come back? I think we've talked about there's 4 scenarios, I guess. Bob comes back, AJ does not. AJ returns, Bob does not. They both return.
I can see
Neither of
two.
them
I can see
return.
2 of 3 happening. Tony in the chat wants to know: can Bob Melvin improve? Does he do everything perfect? Yes, he does everything perfect. Tony, no, obviously, for F's sake, we've said this 1,000 times. He's not infallible to criticism at all. I mean, he deserves to be criticized. He's blown some games this year.
They were slow to adjust this year.
They were massively slow to adjust to the new rules. Massively.
I understand not just the new rules, but to the style of play. They started out basically with a very conservative, hey, let's wait for Juan Soto and Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Fernando Tatis Jr. to hit home runs. We don't really want to risk stolen bases. Why would we get anyone thrown out on the base path? Let's go station to station. We got 4 guys who are probably all going to hit 30 to 40 bombs. Let's be really careful and just let those runs come to us. And that didn't really work early in the season. I certainly understand why they thought that. That might be the way to go. And then as they saw the offense was continuing to scuffle, you started seeing more stolen bases. You know, let's run a more first to thirds. Let's try some different stuff. And eventually the offense got better. The runners in scoring position thing turned around in the second half of the season. They've actually been pretty decent in the second half with runners in scoring position. Every once in a while, they have these days where that just doesn't happen. Every team does. They're just more glaring for the Padres because of the first half of the year.
For me, it's hard to judge really a manager if again, all of the rumors, the articles, what we've heard, what's being said. How can I judge Bob Melvin with knowing basically that he hasn't been given the opportunity to do his job? I got a text from one of my anonymous sources that said, quote, "Tough to do your job when you can't do your job." That's a direct quote from somebody in the organization. How can I judge a man when he's not allowed to do his job? I can't. I cannot do it. I cannot judge that person.
Talk about a guy that was basically given a 24-man roster with, Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter.
Yeah. I mean, it's 26-man roster. You got those 2 guys that are essentially going to, hit, and neither of them did that. You had Austin Nova that could not hit. He was injured, as people thought, and it was tough. The bullpen was patchwork and really, really ineffective to start the season. And again, if all the rumors are true and what my person that I know has told me, can't do your job if you can't do your job. That tells me he hasn't been given a fair shake at doing it his way. So, again, if every manager was responsible for filling the roster with his type of players, I think you're looking at a different team. I do. I think you're looking at a different team. I think you sometimes can only work within the constraints that you're given, right? If Adam gave us an outline of what to talk about every day, that's not the Ben and Wood show. It's not. You can't judge me. You can't judge my ratings on that, but your ratings are terrible. Yeah, but you're telling me what to say. You're giving me my script. You're not letting me breathe. You're not letting me create. You're not letting me do, what I'm good at. How can you judge me on my ratings if you're not giving me, if you're not giving me the freedom?
That's entirely fair. I don't think even Bob Melvin would say, well, you didn't give me enough good players to have a good season.
A depth, though. I mean, when a guy went down, you're screwed. I mean, again, all you have to do is go look at the numbers. This isn't an opinion. When the guys got called up that weren't ready to be called up, their record was atrocious. The starting pitching, the bullpen early was just, it had some holes, and we were unable to fix them. And so, yeah, I mean, injuries played a part of it. Sure, happens to every single team. That's there. We're not the outlier there at all. But for the most part, yeah, it sucked. And then the fact you throw that in with the only guy that was hitting early was Andrew Bogaerts. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. Can I judge Bob Melvin on that? I don't think I can.
Have the Padres put together a better roster as the year has gone on? I mean, picking up Gary Sanchez,
yeah,
ended up being huge. Some of the homegrown options like Matt Batten and
Camposano getting healthy,
getting Jose Azocar back, as a utility guy has been helpful as well. I mean, yeah, AJ has gotten the roster better dialed in as the season has gone on.
Once it was kind of like, I don't even want to say when they were out of it, but look, I'm not going to roast the guy over the trade deadline because at the time we're like, oh, thank God he bought around the margins, and we'll see if these guys work out. They really haven't, other than Barlow. But none of them ever. I mean, G-Man Choi's searching for his first hit. Rich Hill, frankly, giving him starts could have cost this team a playoff spot. So you work with what they give you, and he didn't have. In my opinion, a fair shot at managing. And again, that's not conjecture. That's not speculation. That's not an opinion. That's what Dennis Len wrote about. Kevin Acey's written about. My guy told me. Heard it we've been working together 5 years. We've heard it for 5 years. So it's nothing personal. It's just the way that it is. It's the way that it is. So, I'd love to see him get a shot to do it, his way. And
so he doesn't get any credit for last year either, going to the NLCS.
Sure. Why wouldn't he?
Well, if he doesn't get any blame this year, why would he get credit for last year?
Oh, I'm not blaming him. I just said I'm blaming him. Okay. I think that there were absolutely, you said it, slow to adjust. I couldn't agree more. We looked flat-footed coming out of spring training. We looked like these new rules. It was the first we'd heard of them. Other teams, the Diamondbacks, they built a nice little early cushion by saying, hey, guess what? We're fast, and these bags are big, and they can't throw over.
Couldn't really do anything about the World Baseball Classic.
Right. We're gonna be aggressive. Yeah. So, no, he's not. I'm not absolving him of any blame whatsoever. But I am saying, like, if he gets a shot to do it his way, and if they could just come to that agreement of, like, let me do it, man. Let me show you what I'm capable of. See what happens. I mean, he's made taken veiled shots at roster construction all year, right? I mean, he absolutely has, and talked about the lack of depth and things like that. That falls on the GM, and I think the GM knows that. I think he tried. I think he tried to bring in pieces. They just didn't work. Now, I don't think that's on the manager either that they didn't work. And but again, I'm not going to roast AJ for the trade deadline. We all were in favor of it when it happened. Didn't work out. Never really thought Rich Hill was going to be the solution here. But the fact that he got so many opportunities, I mean, again, Ben, that could have cost us. Maybe
I did think G-Man Choi would get one hit.
I honestly would have bet the farm on that as well, that he would get one.
Should we bet the farm? Will he get one hit with the Padres?
Is that the worst trade acquisition of all time?
Was it those two together?
Yeah, I guess both of them, but really.
Yeah, there was the same trade that acquired a pitcher who has, until I think he threw one scoreless inning in relief this week, had given up runs in every single time he had pitched for the Padres.
He had at least like one half decent start, I think.
I think his ERA is now around 9 with the Padres. He had one.
It's been awful.
He had one where he was like shut out for like 4 innings and then gave it up in the 5th.
He hasn't done
anything. He's walked a few times.
Yeah,
walked with the bases loaded
bunch,
once or twice, I think. Drove in a run that way, but has not
gotten
a hit.
Could go up there in that many at bats and draw a walk or two.
That'd be so good.
But I mean, that's
would you swing at all? You wouldn't. You just stand there.
Like if you were
I don't
going
know
out,
what would be the point of
you would
swinging.
flinch, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yes.
One
curveball.
Oh, you're done. Hey, I'm right there with you. Absolutely. Jump back, drop the bat like Fernando. 100%.
But when you're a team that acquires players rather than ships them out at the deadline, you're in it. You think you have a shot, and to get somebody that 2.5 months in doesn't have a hit.
You know, the elbow armor that they put on the pads and the shin pad. I just look like one of those stormtroopers from Star Wars, and the entire just
an American
plastic
gladiator, just
armor
all the
suit
gear
just
on
go
you.
up. There's no way
Yeah.
anything's getting through.
Yep. I made the point too earlier about how it's going to be different next year. I think that's something that we are going to have to massively take a look at, and is the depth and the roster construction. And I was as guilty as the next guy, man. I was like, give me all the stars, the splash. Let's see it. No one's going to beat us. We're putting up 9 runs a game. Baseball does not work that way as we have seen. It just doesn't. But
next year comes with completely different challenges. There's no adjustment to the rules.
No, right.
You know, they already have been adjusted to the new rules, but I'm sure there will be something unexpected.
Next year, the excuse will be, we got off to a slow start. We had that flight to Korea.
That Korea series, right. It
by the way, it doesn't have to be an excuse. That could be a reason for success.
Sure.
Hey, we really hit the ground running because we knew we had that early Korea series. We bonded well, and that long road trip really brought us together early in a way that wouldn't have otherwise. You can turn any negative into a positive, and you can turn potential positives into negatives. It's about mindset. It's about what you do with the situations you are given. I mean, we were talking about the Marlins earlier, having mad because they got a rain out yesterday when it didn't rain in New York, but they didn't cover the tarp this weekend. The field got way too wet, and they couldn't get it ready in time for the game. They're upset because they have to play a doubleheader today. It affects their pitching for the rest of the season, going to the last day of the year. They're fighting for a playoff spot, but there's no reason to say, hey, maybe it'll turn into a doubleheader win today that propels them to a wild card title at the end of the year. You can turn any negative into a positive.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's a challenge, and I'm sure that's the message that Skip's preaching to his guys today. Is great. I mean, so what? That's the best saying in sports. After you make an error, after you strike out, so what? Do it next. Get the next one, right? I mean, that's just it's standard. I promise you, Skip isn't walking around the clubhouse today upset, externally at least, about they didn't cover the field and now we have to play 2. He's motivating his guys and trying to get them ready to go out and win 2 today, and effectively would knock us out of the playoffs.
If they did win both of those games, Padres would be eliminated.
That's exactly right. It's so weird. We need them to win 1, but no more.
The rest of the year, exactly 1 is the only scenario.
It is so
that
strange.
The Padres could possibly get into the playoffs with.
It is so strange. So I would imagine, though, any sort of we'll know in a week from today, I would imagine, as we sit here in 1 week, we'll know if anybody's staying, if anybody's going, if everybody's going.
We'll know. We could know Sunday night.
Sure.
Could wake up to something on Monday morning.
It'll happen Monday at 10:01. Yeah, 10:05.
Yeah.
You can count on a press release.
All right. Why don't we do this? Paulie's got a great Reindl report, but since we talked so long, let's put that to the bottom of the hour since we have nothing scheduled there. When we come back, the Incorporator, Jesse last night, Fubsy was the word for the last Incorporator
Fubsy
of the season. It came on television with mud, which is always fun. So we'll play that for you, and then we'll let Paulie get you some of those headlines to wrap up the show. Coming up after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Incorporator incoming. First, the NFL is back, and primetime games are available free from Westwood One, and then live here on 97.3 The Fan and on the Odyssey app tomorrow. Listen to the Lions and Packers right here on 97.3 The Fan at 4:30, or simply download the Odyssey app and search for 97.3 The Fan at kickoff. Dan Campbell's Lions. Packers coming off a come-from-behind win over the New Orleans Saints. Had to survive a last-second field goal kick miss to hold on and win that one. Jordan Love now 2-1 as starter for the Packers. Got a pick in that one yet?
Is that Thursday's game?
That's the Thursday night game.
It's
tomorrow.
Green Bay against who?
Detroit.
Oh, God.
I don't like that game.
I don't like that game either.
Not for Survivor purposes.
No.
But if you had to pick a...
Speaking of Survivor, we're going to run it back. All 5 of us.
If I go out in week 1A, 1B, I'm going to lose my mind. Just keep running it back every 3 weeks when we all get banged out. Paulie won the
we got to
first
make this
iteration.
thing last longer into the season than just 3 weeks.
Yeah. Imagine losing on the Chiefs.
To Dan
Campbell's Lions.
Both of our teams, we both lost first week, and both of our teams are undefeated.
They're rolling. Yes.
Yeah.
It's great.
Don't know why. First week, you know what? You should start all Survivor pools in the second week.
See what you're working
Just kind of
with.
give it a little time to just figure out what we're working
A
with.
lot
here.
of gamblers will wait. A lot of gamblers will kind of wait and survey. The NFL is very screwy in week 1. It's even screwy in week 2 and 3. Let's be honest with yourselves. So, that's one to me. Where's the game being played? It's
Detroit and Green Bay. I
Yeah.
think it's at Lambeau.
Okay. I have no idea.
It's in Lambeau, yeah.
I have no earthly idea who to pick. My heart tells me to pick the Lions just because I like rooting for the Lions. I'm sure they're, 3-point dogs or something?
1.5.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
I bet historically my guess is they've lost like 19 of their last 20 in Green Bay or something like that.
I thought it was funny last week. What's the number? How many days has it been since a Jet team has beat the Patriots team? It was like 2,600 days.
Yeah. It's like 2015.
And all the Jets players all week, the motto was, all right, that's it. It stops now. We are done with this. There was a small part of me that went, I wonder if, maybe they're talking themselves into winning this game. Maybe I'll put a little money on the Jets. No, I decided absolutely not to. New England won. I believe they covered as well. So, the Jets are going to jet at the end of the day. And with Zach Wilson at the helm, maybe a good team to just bet against.
Got our first London game Sunday morning at 6:30.
The old London game. Let me
Falcons,
guess. The Jags?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jags. We'll talk about we got our football threesome tomorrow.
Ooh, can't wait for the threesome.
Where we can get into more of the weekend coming up in the National Football League. Right now, though, let's get to the Incorporator. Jesse Agler joined us yesterday. Last one of the season where he gets a strange vocabulary word that he has to then work into the broadcast. Last night's was unique because he was on TV instead of radio doing the game with Mud there in San Francisco. Here's the word that Woods gave him yesterday.
Tonight's word, Fubsy. And Fubsy, F-U-B-S-Y, means squat or portly. Caveat, you can't say it about Mud. And that's it. I got to put the caveat in. It's TV. You can't look at Mud and say, you're looking rather Fubsy tonight. Love it. Fubsy. What a great word.
It is a terrific word. I didn't know that word, but I'm going to use that word going forward. And I think perhaps Jesse Agler will.
I think so too.
As well. And he paired it with another word, did so in a tweet as well, that I think he's going to be using both of these in the future. But this was the 8th inning. The Giants had just made a pitching change. Jesse Agler discussing with Mud on the Padres MLB produced telecast.
This is the 5th separate major league stint for Sean Jelly this year.
6'11", 228 listed on Baseball Reference.
I was going to guess 6'11", 150.
You know what the crazy one is for me as far as height and weight in all sports? Manute Bol, 7'7", 201.
The opposite of Fubsy. Just as spindly as it gets.
Right. That's awesome. 7'7".
It always makes me way more nervous when he has to do it on TV. Way more nervous. Because, I don't know, it's TV. But he knocked it out of the park, because he always does.
I was trying to look it up. Is Sean Jelly the tallest pitcher in MLB history? because Randy Johnson, I believe, was 6'10".
I thought he was 6'11" as well.
According to what I just looked up,
Sean Jelly is?
Sean Jelly is tied with John Rauch.
Ooh, I remember him.
For
Big,
the
tall,
tallest.
righty.
Yeah. Started with the
Randy's
White
listed
Sox.
Randy Johnson's listed at 6'10".
Oh,
6'10",
I
yeah.
thought he was 6'11".
And then, so Sean Jelly and John Rauch, who pitched for the White Sox and the Expos, D-backs for a couple of years,
I remember
2008, 2009, is also 6'11", and they currently are
6'11".
So
on
there's
the
never
mound.
been a 7-footer on the mound.
It would look, and I know it's just an inch or two. It would look massively different, a 7-footer out there on the mound. But all those arms and legs, that's Randy Johnson. All those arms and legs coming at you, and that low 3/4 arm slot just firing it at 98. I mean, one of the most uncomfortable at bats that you could. That's a nightmare, AB. If you're a lefty too, remember Tony's knockoff Randy Johnson, dude, was the right, just
In
served
the
it. Yeah.
1998 NLDS
Wow.
against the Houston Astros. And Tony falling behind in the count, looking like overmatched, like all lefties did.
100%.
Absolute in his prime, Randy Johnson had been traded at the deadline to the Astros that season.
Nasty.
And was they were thinking World Series title. Braves were thinking it. But the Padres come through and, go into Houston, and they get that win, huge win with Tony carving the ball down the left field line, just sticking the butt and the bat out and lining it over there for a double against Randy Johnson. They beat Randy Johnson. They win the series in 4 games. Obviously, they go on to the NLCS, beat the Braves in 6, and make it to the World Series.
No one in the world, even though it was Tony Gwynn, no one would have been like upset at him if he just kind of opened up a little bit and waved at a slider on the outside part of the plate, because it had to be the most uncomfortable.
I think one of the greatest moments in All-Star game history was
John
when
Kruk.
John Kruk,
the best,
went up
right-handed,
the lefty John Kruk.
Yeah, put his helmet on backwards. Even Randy Johnson, who never smiled, laughed and was like, "All right, get in the box." It was, I died. I absolutely died. That's why that was when my love affair with John Kruk started. I've always thought he was great.
So being left-handed makes it a little easier to hold runners just because you're staring at them. Got to imagine, like Roush, right-hander at that size with all the big legs, got to be tough to hold runners,
Moving parts.
especially.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Blackjack McDowell pitch, and he was only like 6'5", but he looked like a behemoth on the mound, just tall and wiry, and hands and legs coming at you, man. It was.
I'm always surprised how big Blake Snell is in person.
Yeah,
he's 6'4". He's a little taller than I am.
Pitching staff.
They're
Yu
huge.
Darvish is
Musgrove
massive.
is a
Musgrove.
Garcia is a bull. Like they're just
old
huge.
guys.
Yeah,
it doesn't translate necessarily on television.
It really
or even
doesn't.
when you're in the ballpark and watching them from the stands.
Yeah,
you really have to walk up to them. Like when we're sitting in spring training, it never fails to amaze me. Like Blake Snell is bigger than I am. I'm a big guy.
Nick Martinez is like the little guy. He's 6'1".
Yeah, he's my height. Yep. And he still somehow towers over me. It's the presence. Luis Garcia is one of the biggest dudes I've ever stood next to. It's like shocking how big that guy is. He's a beast.
He walks by, you're like, oh my
God. Yeah. It's they're supreme athletes.
Yeah, you're downright fubsy compared to the Padres pitching staff.
Aren't we all, buddy? Aren't we all? You less so than you used to be.
Yeah.
Thanks to SD fat loss. But anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back, knock it out with a Reindl Report.
Yeah, it's a really good story again about NIL. I love this. I absolutely love what they're doing at Iowa State.
This is right up Ben's alley. My God.
Ben's
Did you have something to do
wheelhouse.
with this?
I wish I did. It's coming up next with Ben and Woods on
Thought
San
Petco
Diego's.
pork was good.
This is even better on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Paul is going to take us home with the Reindl Report in just a second. First, this hour on The Fan is brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you worried about the rising costs of managing your home expenses? Balance can help you decide if a refinance is right for you, help you avoid predatory lending. Call to schedule an appointment at 1-888-456-2227 or visit BalancePro.org. All right, we'll get to Paulie's headlines, and then we've got our big town hall staff meeting. Looking forward to it.
Or as you call it, nap time.
Other jobs have these as well.
No, other jobs don't have nap time.
No, but they have town halls.
Yeah,
they didn't used to call them. They didn't used to call them town halls. They were just meetings.
Yeah, it's a meeting.
Now they call them town halls for some reason. I was playing golf the other day with someone. He said, I had this town hall meeting at work. Like, it's just...
Isn't it a town hall meeting is held in the town hall?
Now they're held on Zoom, apparently.
Yeah.
Across, multiple locations.
It's an in-person all-staff meeting.
Who's going to be the person?
No, it's a town hall.
It's a town hall, yeah. Who's going to be the person in the town hall that has,
37 questions.
Momentum is wrapping up. They're like, hey, but what about...
Oh, I hate that person.
I do too. Not that person.
Like the person who comes up with a question just to
ask
with
a question.
All right, before we get out of here, any questions? Yeah, I've got 69 of them.
Oh, my God.
I'm seeing the hallways filling up, though, with faces that we don't see every day because they're not here in this day part.
That's right.
Radio lingo for the time of day that we work. But, we got the big town hall meeting coming up.
We will be running tape on you, just so you know. We're running film on you, so do your best.
I think it's more on the presenters of the town hall to be interesting.
To be entertaining.
Keep me awake.
Remember when we had Keith Urban on our Zoom and he didn't know how to log?
One of my favorite stories we've ever experienced.
Hey, guys, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Thanks for jumping on this company-wide Zoom. We've got Keith Urban here, and then we see Keith Urban's mouth moving. Nothing's coming out.
This was like late March, early April of 2020. We had just started just gotten into this pandemic.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going on, and this was not just this was not an Odyssey San Diego town hall. This was
nationwide.
All of Odyssey. Every single employee was on this giant Zoom call, and they said, "Hey, Keith Urban's here." We're like,
fantastic.
Okay,
I can't think of anybody I want to see less than
what does
Keith Urban
have to say?
He didn't have a cat filter on.
No cat filter, but he was sat there for a good solid 7 minutes trying to figure out the audio. He's trying to figure out the audio. So all we see is his mouth moving.
He's doing the hands up.
Anybody? I sat there and I was like, I don't want to be here.
And everyone's giving the
anymore.
suggestion: is your mute button on?
Mute, Keith. I've got no idea. Like, what in the world? And again, I don't know.
Cheers, mates.
Was that the most fiscally responsible decision to make in the middle of a global pandemic? The beginning of a global pandemic.
They paid him.
It wasn't for free.
He might have done it out of the goodness of his heart.
I promise you he didn't.
Wash your
40,000, mates. All right.
Let's move California forward.
Stupid.
Is it weird? Is it just us that we still have all the COVID signs up?
They're still
the
here.
6 feet, the washing the hands.
Yeah.
We have the on the doors. It still says we're not at full staffing levels due to COVID. That excuse is a little old now. It's 2023. You might need to take some of those signs down at this point.
I mean, I guess
you still have the feet painted on the line at work,
an abundance of caution.
6 feet away.
Didn't we have plexiglass in here between us?
Oh,
We
yeah,
did, didn't we?
Little
It just popped in my head.
Little divider.
Yeah, we did. We absolutely did.
Oh.
Anyway, take
You
it
know what?
away,
We made
Paul.
it must have worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Traffic and then the Reindl Report here.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Caltrans, reminding you to avoid the 5 for a faster ride this Friday. Well, guys, we still have this accident blocking the 2 right lanes on northbound 5 near Main and Division. Tow truck is on scene assisting with that. And collision on southbound 5 coastline right before Birmingham. Those vehicles are in the center divide, but watch out for a bumper in the left lane. Caltrans reminds you to avoid the 5 for a faster drive beginning 9 p.m. this Friday. Northbound 5 will have limited access to downtown San Diego beginning at State Route 15 until 5 a.m. Monday, October 2nd. Use northbound 805 or 15 to avoid delay. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. That reminds me. I went to my trainer yesterday. She had just gone on a trip to Texas, Austin. They went and saw a show at the Moody Center. The Mood.
Oh, the Mood.
The Mood.
Oh, wow.
She said it was like 55,000 seats. I didn't realize it was so large. She said it was a great venue. Really fantastic.
Bless the Mood. I thought that was
That's
is that their
Matthew McConaughey.
basketball?
It's not. It's not. I don't think it's a basketball arena. It's just
It
like a
couldn't be.
giant, some sort of giant venue that they.
Wow.
I didn't realize that it was so big.
I didn't
But
either.
as you said, it was terrific.
Bless
The Moody Center.
Who did they see?
Will you do this with me? Just because it'll make me feel good. It is time to bless the mood.
The
Are you
ribbon
ready
cutting
to
ceremony.
Bless the mood. Are you ready?
Everyone's going,
to
what?
Bless the
This isn't a song.
Why are we singing
Are you
along? Do we
ready
need to?
Bless.
Does he want us to really
the
sing
mood? I
along?
need some help, please. Are you ready to bless the mood?
Nobody's singing.
No one.
Are you ready to? Come on now. Give me some backup.
Oh, for the
Bless
love
the
of
mood.
God.
1, 2, 3. Are you ready
Start
to
over.
bless the mood? Are you ready to bless the mood?
He never stopped.
McConaughey, are you on
ready
drugs?
to bless the mood? Come on, CDC. Are you ready to bless the mood? Are you ready to bless the mood?
No, we're not.
Here it is. Are we ready to bless the mood? It starts right now. Thank you, Irwin Center.
Oh, I forgot how great that is. The
In
whole
its
clip.
entirety,
In its
it's so
entirety.
I don't know who she saw. They got Depeche Mode on Friday. They've got Peter Gabriel Wednesday, October 18th. Chris Stapleton's coming. They get some big acts.
Yeah, some
Jonas
big-
Brothers, Aerosmith,
Excellent. Ragdoll live at the Mood.
Kiss. You go see
Ooh,
Kiss.
Absolutely.
All right,
Paulie,
Paulie.
take us away.
All right, gentlemen. Let's start in baseball. ESPN, our buddy David Schoenfield released his, there's still 4 games left in the regular season, but he released full regular season grades for all 30 teams. We'll get to the Padres in a second. Only one team got an A+ grade for the regular season. Any guesses?
Braves.
Atlanta.
Nope. They got
Really?
an A.
Really? Not an A+. Orioles?
Orioles.
Baltimore Orioles. I think there were like 7 teams that got Fs. The New York Mets, F. Cardinals, F. Rockies, F. Angels, F. Athletics, and White Sox also got Fs. The Padres, any guesses?
D-.
D+.
Split the difference.
Split the difference.
Just
Nice,
a
solid
old
D.
D.
Padres got a D.
Can you do this for 4 days, though? I mean, like,
yes.
The Rangers could win the pennant. They could also miss the playoffs still.
Yeah,
There's a
I
big
guess.
difference between your grade.
It's true.
If you
Yeah, they should wait.
win your division or you miss the
It's
playoffs.
not going to hurt
entirely.
you to wait till Monday, David, to put your grades out.
He says, Padres could probably have gotten even a lower grade, but he thinks that maybe they were a little overrated to begin with. They've had one of the unluckiest seasons in Major League history with that 0-11 record in extra inning games. 12 now. I don't know if that's unlucky or just not getting the job
Not
done.
good at executing.
Smart people keep telling us it's unlucky.
They really do.
They really insist.
They insist.
And
They swear.
All the Padres fans, we are having trouble believing that.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
All right, let's get to this NIL story that Ben has pretty much been talking about since he got here at 5:35, 5:40 this morning. Hey, did you guys see this? We got to get this in. Well, it's 9:45. We're getting to
He
it.
was mad at me that I didn't put it in do this. I went with Mastroboni for obvious reasons, and he was
wasn't
like,
bad.
"This should be in."
Wasn't bad.
So I love when the NIL. I love that NIL deals happen in general for student athletes, and I love the ones where it just makes so much sense. I think the last one I remember talking about was the kid that was known for the kind of looking away
Meme.
gif
Yeah.
that you see. That was at KFC or no Popeye's Chicken, and he's a football player now, and he's got a Popeye's Chicken NIL deal.
Literal.
It's perfect.
No
Caleb
brainer.
Williams has got the Wendy's deal. Hey, Caleb Williams is transferring to Wendy's.
That doesn't make any sense, though.
I mean, but he's famous for transferring, and now he's quarterback at USC. They're transferring to Wendy's.
He transferred in from where?
Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right.
With Lincoln Riley.
With Lincoln.
Yeah.
So now he's transferring to Wendy's.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I would have thought like L'Oreal, like nail polish would have been a better, because he paints his nails before he gets.
Oh, yeah.
He'll say it's
That would make sense,
It's a
too.
really cool move. He'll write like FUC and then the other one, and then he'll do ASU on his nails. It's cool. It's really cool.
Well, this latest NIL deal is just so fitting. It's 4 Iowa State football players. They all are in on the deal, and it's with the Iowa Pork Producers Association.
The IPPA.
IPPA. And let's see. The names are Miles Purchase, Tommy Hammond, Tyler Moore, and Caleb Bacon.
All right. I don't know any of these players, but
I've never heard of
I'm
any
starting
of them.
to hear. I'm starting to get it. Okay.
But when you look at the ad, and I'm throwing it up on our YouTube stream, they lined up all 4 players with their jerseys and their last names. And it lines up to say Purchase, Moore, Hammond, Bacon.
It's so clever, man.
Miles Purchase, Tyler Moore, Tommy
Hammond.
Hammond,
Hammond,
and Caleb Bacon.
Bacon.
Hammond Bacon. Purchase
Purchase.
Moore, Hammond Bacon.
Absolutely brilliant.
There's a big pile of bacon and a big giant old ham.
Purchase
right in front of them.
more ham and bacon, and they all get an NIL cut now, just all for just having the proper last name.
Yeah,
it's outstanding.
It's outstanding.
They literally didn't do anything.
That is really
just their name.
Who is the? By the way, who is the genius that noticed that and said we can put that together? I mean, that is that's
I
next
know
level.
how the brain works, and I would have seen bacon, and then I probably would say, "Oh, Hammond,
You
Hammond
work-
bacon,"
you
and then
work
I went
back-
backwards,
work
and I go,
backwards.
"Huh? I wonder if there's
Purchase.
anything else." Oh, more Hammond bacon. Wait, Miles Purchase is on this team. But you put them all together. Purchase more Hammond bacon.
It's brilliant.
Caleb Bacon said he's gotten jokes his entire life
Sure.
about his last name. People said I should take advantage of it, and it just came to fruition in that picture. I think it's good for our teammates, and I'd like to thank the Iowa Pork Producers for the opportunity.
What's the check from the Iowa Pork Producers? Probably a lot.
$2 or $3 grand. I bet
Yeah,
they're
something like
I bet
that.
they're each getting something like that.
Not Sugimoto money or anything,
No.
but right.
In conjunction with the NIL partner, I don't see how much they're actually getting paid, but it says in conjunction with the partnership, the IPPA is going to donate $1,000 of pork to each player's food pantry of choice. So doing some good as well. I love that. And then finally, none of us go to McDonald's, but
No, never.
If anybody out there listening enjoys McDonald's on occasion, we got 2 new dipping sauces coming to the menu. McDonald's teased these on social media a couple of days ago, and the first sauce is called Mambo, which is very popular. They have it in some locations in the Washington, D.C. area. It's described as a tomato-based sauce that is sweet, spicy, and vinegary.
Oh, man. That's how their barbecue sauce is. It's got good vinegar flavor. They have really good barbecue dipping sauce. Really good.
Are we talking about McDonald's
Yeah.
sauce?
Yes.
Oh, sweet and sour is the
I
way
like
to
sweet
go.
and sour.
I like the barbecue and the hot mustard.
Now, the second sauce is called Sweet and Spicy Jam, and it's a breakfast-inspired dipping sauce. According to McDonald's, it is a jammy red pepper sauce with a tongue-numbing, I don't know the word, S-Z-E...
Szechuan.
Szechuan. I'm not even flubbing it. I literally have no idea. Szechuan
Szechuan
peppercorn kick and extra heat from cayenne pepper.
They both sound
breakfast dip.
intriguing.
I like the mambo,
Now-
and I don't really like. I don't want when I hear tongue numbing.
Well, that's it. Asian spices are often referred to that way.
That's tongue numbing.
Yeah, they're not like absolutely fire kick right at the,
Szechuan.
but they get that low heat that just you can kind of feel it for a
So
while.
you know how sometimes you'll look on Instagram and you're scrolling through Instagram one day. This is the most fat guy moment I've had in the last 15 years.
Oh boy.
You ready for this? I noticed this guy said, "Hey, I found," and everything's a hack, right? And so look at this hack that I came up with. So this guy went to Chick-fil-A, Benny, and I tried this that day. The day I looked at it on Instagram, I'm like, advertising works.
I'm intrigued
because I saw it on the show and I go, well, I'm trying that. And I went home and tried it. All right, go to Chick-fil-A, get yourself a chicken sandwich, remove the patty, put it in the bag, fill the bag with Polynesian sauce, move the bag up and down, coat the patty in Polynesian sauce, right? Put it back on the bun. Instead of getting fries as your side, get a side of mac and cheese. Take a dollop of mac and cheese, put it on top of the patty, then take the buffalo sauce from Chick-fil-A, lightly drizzle it on top of the mac and cheese, put the bun back on top of it, bite into it. Let me tell you something. If my wife said sex for a year or that is your option, it would be a hard choice. It's the best thing I've ever. I go. It was
did it.
Oh, I did it. I've done it like 3 times, but I was like, that's the best sandwich I've ever had in my entire life. It was
crap.
perfect.
Well, I can see it hits all the the taste notes.
It's a taste explosion.
The spicy, the creamy, the tangy, the sweet,
firm breast,
everything,
the chicken breast
together.
It was, guys, it's outstanding. I mean, it really is. And I liked the new sandwich there.
The honey pimento chicken.
This
also hits a
sandwich-
lot of the same notes. though.
This sandwich blows that one out of the water.
I've always the mac and cheese at Chick-fil-A is good.
It's staggeringly good. So again,
High quality.
Don't go too much. Don't go too much of any of it. But Polynesian on the patty, dollop of mac and cheese, buffalo sauce on the top. Put your thing in. When I was done, though, I felt
Fubsy.
When I was done, I felt like I was leaving, like I felt like I was leaving like a prostitute. I was like, I feel
dirty.
I was in my car and I was like, you have so many problems, man. You have so many problems. It was hard to look at myself in the mirror, but it was so good. Try it. I'm begging you guys. Whoever this guy that came up with this, he should be working in like one of the restaurants on the Bear. It was that good. So there's my little fat guy moment. And that's the Reindl Report.
Which also conveniently takes us 2 minutes away from the end of the show.
As it usually does, yeah.
Should we go? Someone go save us a spot at the town hall meeting so we get good seats right in front. No chance. I'm sitting in the back.
It's probably already packed it. What does Coach do? Does he not have to? He doesn't have to go.
No,
He's gonna be on
Coach and
there.
Braden are going to be doing their show, right? Or are we going to network programming so they can attend the meeting?
As far as I know, they're live.
I think they're going to continue to entertain and inform San Diego coming up next, and we'll just have to
Lucky.
update them on the meeting afterwards.
Look forward to it.
I might need to be updated on the
Are
meeting
you ready?
when I wake up.
Do not fall asleep in there. You got to act like a leader. Would Tom Brady fall asleep in the players' meeting?
If he
Film-
was
film
tired, I
study.
would think he
He
would.
would not.
Isn't it
Trust-
showing how hard you're working?
No, it's not.
By being so tired that you fall asleep. Like
think
all
that's
you
how it
other
works.
people who are well rested, you could learn something from Ben, who's
Absolutely
exhausted
not.
here
I can't wait
with
for
how
it.
much he's working.
Have the camera ready and just you sit far away from us
So
so we can have a good
long
dis-
shot.
distance.
All right. Before we go, I'll remind everybody that all guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We'll have a very intelligent, advanced, forward-thinking baseball segmented show tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we will.
We're going to have like a 45-minute stretch where it will be the smartest baseball talk we could possibly provide.
And it's
you.
not from us
And
at
it ain't
all.
coming from us.
It's
We got Eno, as always, our weekly Smart Baseball segment, but we will also be joined at 9 o'clock, I believe,
9 o'clock.
by Kyle Body from Driveline.
It's been a while since we talked to him.
Yeah, really.
Great.
I mean, the place where people go to up their game in baseball nowadays.
Yep.
get some insight from Kyle. Worked for the Reds for a while. Now back on his own, I believe. That's all coming up tomorrow. Great show today. Thanks to Adam Jones. Coach coming up next. For Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Time for our meeting next on 97.3 The Fan.